welcome to another FACEHAMMER show. And today we are talking about Angry Birds, as Byron wants to say, or magical flappies, Tzeentch. Thanks Games Workshop for sending us Disciples of Tzeentch. As you know, in the channel we review army books and things. I didn't bother doing the box set because I figured there's going to be some changes. So we'll just wait for the battle tomes. So, Disciples of Tzeentch, we know Luminous coming. We've seen Ogor more tribes teased as well.
Looks like there's 4 things on the not even far horizon.
We know also, slaves coming.
There's slight confusion about what seasons mean.
Summer, yeah.
Apparently as well.
Apparently, Tzeentch.
Summer ain't that long.
September is summer, apparently. But, you know, I think obviously things have been pushed back a bit. They probably should get someone to amend their graphics, but I would call it autumn. But there you go. Who knows?
Maybe they're away on their summer holidays.
No, I think they're away in August. That got very quiet, as most things do. So we're going to go through the battle tome, talk about it. I haven't really had a chance to digest it or look at it. Obviously, it's one of those.
There's not any major drops of new models or stuff though. This is
just the Curseling reimagined. I hope so. Because the Tzeentch book is traditionally fairly complicated and, to coin a very British term, a bit wanky with the way it works. And which, you know, you kind of have all these like random stuff, like horror splitting is a big one, and then this pretty, as to coin a phrase that's battered around the internet, NPE, non-player experience, whatever that means. It's in the eye of the
beholder. I think it's also managed to be MP for the people doing it as well historically, because it's so admin heavy. So I'm really interested to see what they've done.
And unfortunately, and Tzeentch is kind of it's quite popular, but the models are quite complicated. The rules are a little bit bloaty, and hopefully they've streamlined it, but we don't know. We'll dive into it. We'll go through it, give our first impressions. It's been a while since we've dropped a video on the channel, just been a bit busy. Obviously, we've got FACEHAMMER GT coming up. We're sold out. We've released our own rules pack for that, which is a little bit different. So we'll probably do a show on that and talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to release this now. It should be on pre-order day, so it's 24th of September. So you should be able to go and pre-order your Tzeentch if you want to play Tzeentch. So let's talk about Tzeentch.
We jump into one of the most important things if people haven't played it before, which is the Fate dice, but they've been renamed now, haven't they?
Have they? I don't even know. I'm literally this is the first time I've read it. So
the rule is Masters of Destiny. Maybe that's what they've always been called. Just I guess we all call it Fate dice. But for my money, this is one of the coolest combinations of rules and fluff matching up out of any of the army books. But I still think it's slightly too strong, and has always been slightly too strong.
Well, in a game where you've got probability, having a way to basically guarantee things is,
Yeah. So if anyone likes accounting and planning things out specifically, which normally you can't do, you can do that with Tzeentch, and you can do it 9 times. So the way that happens is at the end of deployment, roll 9 dice and put them to one side. These are your Destiny dice. Destiny dice can be used during the battle to change dice rolls. So instead of making a roll, you say, I'm going to use this dice. And bear in mind, you've got a random selection of what they are, but you might have some 1s, you might have some 6s, and you can make a charge, a 12, guaranteed, or you can make a pop test, a 1 guaranteed, or something like that. So 9 times a game, you're completely in control of the result of a random roll, which is incredibly powerful. Really, really, really strong. Can let you keep a key hero alive. Kragnos comes in and does 2 damage for attacks you can only save on a 5 or a 6. You can make those saves. So they've have a very, very strong core mechanic at the very first roll of the book, basically.
Yeah, I think the one of the things you used to be able to do with it is change like 1 dice out of a 2d6 cast, and because of the rule on Lord of Change, being able to like replicate that roll, that was quite strong. Obviously, that's changed now. They've used this algebra equal to the x of an xd6 roll. So if it's a 2d6 roll, you have to use 2 dice. So I think that's kind of reduced a little bit in terms of its power. I think it was there in the last book. I haven't played Tzeentch for a while.
Quite a lot of time if you're looking for an extreme result, though, you might be using those 2 dice anyway, right? So I think it's definitely made it slightly less powerful.
I just don't think it's as powerful as it used to be.
It'll just run out faster, right? It's just slightly less efficient. But I think quite a lot of the strong players they'd sit on 1 or 2 dice, but they'd spaff 7 pretty early to assert a board position.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I think it's an interesting mechanic. I like it. It's one of my favorite things about the army.
Yeah.
They've got this new rule, which is arcane armies. So it says in the first battle round, after players have received their command points, before the start of the first turn, you can pick a Disciples of Tzeentch wizard on the battlefield. That wizard can automatically cast a spell they know that summons Burning Sigil, Tome of Eyes, or Demonic Simulacrum, which are the endless spells. Don't make a casting
on the table.
roll. They cannot be unbound and cannot be dispelled in the first battle round. So it basically allows you to like put a spell out, and then at the start of the game, then if they go first, you can still move it in their hero phase if it's predatory and stuff. We'll go through the spells later, but it's quite interesting. You almost start the game with an endless spell on the board.
It's, again, it might be a bit strong, but fits really well with the theme of the army.
Depends on the spells. Like, at least it's not any endless spell.
Yeah,
that could
ridiculous.
be nuts.
Here's Palisade in front of your
Here's Chromatic Cogs automatically cast, ready for me to use on my first turn with my magic army. So you've got the Locust, which is subtract 1 from hit rolls, made with melee weapons that target Disciples of Tzeentch, whole even 12 with Disciples of Tzeentch demon hero.
Not too hard.
So it's demons only, the Locust. So it's demons and demons. Oh, you got the Covens, which will go about, but basically that's like your army special rule. Summoning, still there. You get fate points, so each time a casting roll is successful and the spell is not unbound, you get a fate point. So it's friendly or enemy, and then
it's just a casting roll, isn't it?
Yeah, then you can summon from the chart. So basically works the same as it does now, as far as I'm aware.
Still pretty solid, just dropping. You've got quite good things to drop as well. There's a good variety in there. I wouldn't say the units you're dropping are incredibly strong, but having variety is really useful. Screamers are pretty fast, for example.
Yeah, it's quite tricky because you need 10 for the lowest thing, which is actually quite a lot when you think about it, because you have to have 10 successful, not unbound spells.
Well, it's really opponent dependent, right? Obviously, you've got your number, and you're pretty good at casting spells. Your opponent might have some auto unbinds or stuff like that, which will lower yours, and they might also have no casts. So if you come up against Khorne, Fire Slayers, or people like that, you're going to have a much less summony game than if you come up against someone else who uses magic and isn't particularly
death armies, basically. If you've got someone's got death, Nagash or something like that, then you're going to be spaffing summoning points.
Even if they're stopping your spells, you're still ratcheting up the points, aren't you?
I remember when I went to Warhammer World and I played against Tzeentch and I had Nagash and Arkan in my OBR army.
What's that, like 12?
And he was like, I've got like 12 fate dice. Oh, it's amazing. Like in one turn.
You take turn 1, like, I'm dropping a unit in my first turn.
And I was just like, I'm not going to stop casting spells and doing what I'm doing. Like, I don't care. Like, it's fine. Whatever you put on the board, I kill it. It's all right. It's fine. The arrogance of the big hat energy. So then you've got legions, which is the coalition rules, which basically allows you to include slaves to darkness units and beast units. It's the same as it is now. You've got a transform to spawn rule. So if a model is transformed to spawn, you can add 1 Tzeentch chaos spawn that has 1 model to your army. Don't really know where that comes in. If a model is transformed into a spawn, you can add 1 Tzeentch chaos spawn that has 1 model to your army.
Oh, so basically, if you summon a spawn, it's a Tzeentch one.
Yeah.
You get a keyword.
You get a,
kind of makes sense. They could have maybe worded that slightly more clearly. I don't really know why it's there,
because you could just put the rule on the war scroll. But I guess if you have a war scroll in another army, it wouldn't be marked. I don't know.
Yeah, it covers it. They've got to put that blanket over everything, haven't they?
And one of the interesting things is the agendas are gone. So in the last book, you had these things called agendas.
Less rules. Yeah.
And you'd pick these special missions, and then you'd do it, and then you'd get a buff on the unit. And so, like, you have to throw all those tokens in the bin if you've got those, because, you don't need to worry about
I am
that.
down for Tzeentch armies in particular having less rules. I think the people playing them with and against them will be quite happy about that.
I just hope the mortals are better, because I like the mortals. I don't so much like the demons, but... then we go into the enhancements. So we've got, command traits. So this is Arcanite. So this is the Arcanites, which are typically the mortals. So you've got the wizard knows 2 extra spells.
Powerful ability.
Yeah, I mean, wizard only.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get to cast anymore, but
you don't particularly want them as your general massively, but that's a decent incentive.
You got Nexus of Fate. Start the hero phase. Generals in the battlefield, roll a dice. If you do, you can replace one of the Destiny dice. That's very strong. Cult Demagogue. Great. If the casting roll for the general is a double, it's successful and the spell cannot be unbound, and you get 2 fate dice instead of 1. That's very strong. I'm really glad you can't put that on a Lord of Change.
I'm sure they've got some other stuff available to them.
I'm sure there'll be some disgusting combos in here. Arcane Sacrifice. Start your hero phase. Cause a mortal wound to friendlies and shoot them free. At the end of the phase, add 9 inches to the range of spells successfully cast by the general. So
strong.
Pretty good. 9 inches on this range.
1 wound is a very cheap cost.
Yeah. It's good.
And it's just Tzeentch unit. It's not restricted to Arkanite unit. Anything on the table, basically.
Soul Burn, you're never taking that, are you? It's a melee attack on a 6. You do a mortal wounded addition.
On your slow moving hero. Sounds great.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's not as good as the others, is it? And then Illusionist, subtract 1 from hit rolls. If you've got a melee guy, he's going to have that, right? If you're going to have a melee general, you're going to go for -1 to hit rolls.
It's a flat -1 as well, not just melee. So.
In melee and shooting. Yeah, all the time. Works with every turn. Yeah, it's good. Then you've got the Tzeentch Demons, which have probably got the similar things. So Ash Sorcerer knows 2 extra spells from the Lord of Change.
Familiar.
Yeah. Once a battle in your hero phase, you can say the general use their Demon Spark. You immediately gain 3 fate points. It's quite good.
Yeah, I guess you can, depending on how you're building your army, you could use that to guarantee or far raise the probability that you can do something turn 1 or turn 2, which is useful.
Yeah. Sometimes you just add an odd number. You just want the extra points. I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't use it straight away, because you don't reset your total to 0 when you summon. So, like, you might as well just use
drop
it
a screen or something. Yeah, useful.
Next of Fate, start your hero phase. So it's the re-roll of dice from your Destiny pool. Then you've got Incorporeal Form. If you're affected by a spell or the ability of an endless spell on a 5-up, ignore the spell or the effects of the spell on the general. Pretty good.
It's pretty good because that's one of the things. Actually, you're probably worried about shooting and magic damage equally, aren't you?
I mean, magic's like, you should be able to unbind a lot of stuff, but if someone's throwing a purple sun at you and you get a chance to 33% chance not to be dragged into the sun. I mean,
or I don't know if there's any debuffing abilities that are magic related or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's whether or not you rely on your unbind. I think I would probably be more inclined to go for the other abilities.
Lean into your strength already and then put some stuff in the way and keep your guy back.
Yeah.
Good. Like, both of those are really good selections, though.
Then we're into artifacts. So got the Change Blade. So you pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. Here is slain by attack. She is transformed into a spawn, which should obviously be a Tzeentch spawn.
I've already read it a couple of times, so let's move on.
Yeah. Time Slip. Once per battle in the combat phase after the bearers fought, you can say they would time slip. They count as having fought in the phase, but the strike last effect applies. So they basically get to attack at the end. So they do not count as having fought, but the strike last effect. So they get to fight twice at the end.
If they don't get killed, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't think Tzeentch have any combat-y mortal heroes. Maybe the Ogoroid Firmitage, but even then not particularly fighty. Then you've got these are Disciples of Tzeentch, as like in Alliance Slaves coalition units, and give them these. So Demon Heart, once a battle at the start of the combat phase, pick an enemy unit with 1 inch to the bearer, takes a number of mortal wounds equal to the number of the current battle round. That's alright.
It's alright, but it's 1 inch.
Yeah, but if you've got a guy on a disc...
Yeah, at least it's start of the combat phase.
You could wait until the last turn. You just ping him across 16 inches, charge someone, and just go, right, you're dead.
Yeah.
Five mortals,
That's basically a magic missile on someone who's fast.
And you could also, if you've got a caster with that, they could have bolt as well. So it could be like even on turn 3, you could be doing 3 plus D3 mortal wounds. I mean, that's not
solid.
awful.
And you've got some shooting in the army as well. Like stuff like that goes up in value a lot if you have a way to affect things at range, which is one of the things that this book does well. So I think you have to rate stuff like that more highly in a book like this.
Yeah, I think so. Then you've got Ambition's End. Once a battle, start your hero phase, pick an enemy wizard within 1 inch. The wizard suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the number of the current battle round. In addition, the wizard cannot attempt to unbind spells until the next hero phase. It's kind of the same thing, but a bit more restricted, so I don't think you'd take that.
Yeah, because the start of the hero phase, way different.
Yeah, it's like a worse version of the one we just read, right?
Too many ifs.
Yeah.
The if rule.
Secret Eater. If the modified hit roll for an attack is a 6, and you have fewer than 9 destiny dice, you can roll a dice and add it to your destiny dice pool, which could be quite nice.
Result, isn't it? If you've got enough attacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not
late game. That could feel grim for your opponent if you could leverage it. It would feel horrible, wouldn't it? Oh, he's rolled 3 6s. Yeah,
it's nice.
Notably, you don't keep the 6s; you have to roll a dice, so it's not like you're popping 6s in the pool because that would be ultra grim.
Yeah. Spiteful Shield. If the modified save roll for an attack by a melee weapon that targets bearer is a 6, the attack unit takes 2 mortal wounds. So it's okay.
It's okay. These guys don't have a massive amount of wounds, so I'd be more leaning into keeping them alive than trying to damage people when they get hit.
They're pretty underwhelming, those artifacts, for me.
Yeah, that's a bit of a limp section.
I mean, most people probably want to put it on their Lord of Change, right? So these are going to be the ones that we want to look at. So do you want to run through these?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the Warpfire Blade. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack with that weapon is 6, it causes 2 mortal wounds in addition to any damage it inflicts. Pretty solid by melee standards. Blade of Fate. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons once per battle. If the unmodified hit roll made for an attack with that weapon is a 6, you can replace one of your destiny dice with that roll.
Okay, so that is a 6 then?
Yeah, so that one is a 6.
So is that different to the last one then? Is that the same? Did I just misread it?
The Secret Eater was you can if
you can roll a dice and add it, whereas this one is
it's a 6.
If you roll a 6, you replace it. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So
have 2 slightly different rules for the same thing.
Place one of your destiny dice with that roll. Yeah. So you just get to upgrade an existing destiny dice. Just replace.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't get to add one. I mean, you get to replace one with a 6. Basically.
Turning a 2 or a 3 or a 4 into a 6 is pretty solid if you want your guy in melee. Pyrify Stave. This is all about melee weapons, isn't it? Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. If any wounds inflicted by the weapon are allocated to enemy wizard and it's not slain, that wizard cannot unbind spells for the rest of the battle. Sounds really cool and thematic, but that's like 3 ifs in a row, isn't it?
Could be quite strong.
You can guarantee that your stuff gets through with your fate dice, and if you can lock someone's one wizard down or a powerful wizard down, like imagine bopping Nagash for. I guess the thing is, you want to do it to someone that you can hit, has decent dispelling, so it's worth it when you're quite good at casting, but isn't going to hit you back so hard that you end up dying for the fact that you tried to do this.
It depends. Like you might not care about dying if it's like on a Herald on a disc or something, and it's not very likely you're going to do damage.
Maybe, but they've also got a lower quality. They've also got a lower quality of attacks, haven't they?
Yeah.
If any wounds inflicted by that weapon.
Yeah.
I think some of your guys who can do mortals on 6s, that maybe go up on value if that was doable. Next, you've got the Beacon of Mutability. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Disciples of Tzeentch demon units that are wholly within 9 of the bearer.
Yeah, we got a winner there. That's better than the others.
Yeah.
And the next
if you're being aggro, that's super strong. 9-Eyed Tome. You can reroll casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls for the bearer. That sounds like the type of rule that has generally been removed from the game, or people have said you can only have
Lord of Change, right?
To dispelling them. Absolutely. Like, why bother reading anything else?
And the next one, probably.
Let's see. If the bearer's on the battlefield, roll a dice. Each time you spend a destiny dice on a 5+, you can roll a dice and add it to your destiny dice. Well, that just screams like spend like they're going out of fashion and
Just gives you basically 3 extra Destiny dice, right?
So you should, if your boo doesn't die and you use all of your dice, you should end up with 12 instead of 9, and then you've got other ways to get them back. In addition,
out of those 3, you'd end up with 1, so 13 dice.
Yeah.
On average, obviously. Dice are dice.
Well, don't bother reading the first 3 because they start with some stuff about melee weapons.
Those last 3, yeah,
they're insane. I mean, this is the page where you start building a Tzeentch army. In my eyes, like it's kind of what they're all about, isn't it? Strong. Yeah,
it's good. You're generally your character that you want to put artifacts on, and you're probably gonna have a lot of change. So, like again, it's what I said about the mortals being kind of like second fiddle to the demons normally. So you got like the law of fate, which is quite interesting with what's happened with Nurgle, where the mortals seem to be more important than the demons, but. So you've got the spells. So this is mortal or Arcanite wizards, including unique units. Arcane Suggestion on an 8, range of 18. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit and pick one of the following effects. It hopeless, the unit cannot issue or receive commands. Drop your weapons. Subtract 1 from hit and wound rolls. Wow. Kneel, subtract 1 from save rolls. So like you've got, that's a really good spell.
3 options. 3 options. That is, and they're all good. That's like the really strong one in the Stormcast book that never comes up because Stormcast don't do spells. Tzeentch do spells, so that's going to come up, and that's incredibly good. Yeah, it's a very, very good spell. Cast on an 8, so not easy to get off, but yeah, very, very good.
Then you've got Shield of Fate, which is basically tied into your Destiny dice pool. So if you've got 1 to 3 dice, you get a 6 up ward. 4 to 6, you've got a 5 up ward. 7 to 9, you've got a 5 up and a 4 up ignore the effects of spell and endless spell.
Not bad. Probably not the type of thing that you would pick unless you'd built a plan around it, given the strength of other stuff, I guess.
I think it's quite good. Like, I mean, even if you've got 4 Destiny dice left, you've got a ward of 5 up on a, like, cast it on your Lord of Change or a big unit. This is 1 friendly Tzeentch unit. So you cast on your big Tzaangor unit.
Yeah, it's not restricted.
It's really good. Like I think you will see that a lot.
I mean, it's cast on a 6, so that's very easy to get off.
Good range as well.
You're going to pull dispel attempts out of someone with that. I guess that's pretty powerful.
I mean, those 2 spells, you've got one that debuffs them and one that buffs you. A big unit of Tzaangor Enlightened on discs. You give them a ward, you drop the enemy's save or whatever, or minus 1 to hit and wounds. You've suddenly become a very defensive unit.
Yeah, your aggro unit's now also a tar pit at the same time.
Yeah. And then you've got Glimpse the Future, which just adds the Destiny dice, basically.
Yep.
And then you've got Infuse Arcanum. Add 1 to hit and win rolls for attacks made by the caster. That's on a 5. So
it's slightly less sexy given the models. It's not bad though.
It depends. I mean, like, it's mortal as well, so I believe it affects Archeon and people like that if they can take these spells. It does say including unique, so I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. A passive Archeon, I can't remember how he works now. They change him so often. You've got a Treacherous Bond, so range, cast value of 5, range of 9. Pick a Tzeentch mortal unit, within range, until your next hero phase, while it's within 9 of the caster, before you allocate a wound or mortal wound to the caster. So then make a ward roll or a dice on a 3 up, it's allocated to the mortal unit, cannot be negated. So it's a pass off.
And a keep your guy alive.
But yeah, which is okay. Not much range damage at the moment in this lore. There's no mortal wound stuff. I mean, you've got Bolt, which is on a 7. Pick enemy unit within range, take d6 mortal wounds. Cannot be cast more than once per turn, even though it appears in both lores. So I always remember them having a lot more damage spells. It kind of feels a bit.
We'll have to see if anything's coming from banners in units or anything like that. Hopefully it's not, and that's been dialed back on. But
or maybe it's just the demon lore is more damagey. So
should we find out?
Yeah.
Okay, so these guys. So it's 5 spells. 1, 2, 3. No, it's 5 spells in this and 6 in the previous one. Don't know why.
Weird number.
Yeah. What's Tzeentch's number?
9.
Okay, so it's neither of those.
Added together, it still doesn't make 9. I'm glad that's not the reasoning. I just find it funny because when you had like the Uruk, it's like everyone had 3 spells, and it was 3 artifacts, 3 command traits, 3 spells.
Yeah.
Then some books they've gone to 6, like the old with the chart and roll of dice, and then
that's gone. Exploded, didn't
and then they're like, oh, let's have a billion, you know. So anyway,
3 each is fine. And
can we just keep it consistent? It'd be nice. But
yeah, so Treason and Tzeentch. These are all for Tzeentch Demon Wizards. Treason and Tzeentch. Casting value of 7, range of 18. Pick 1 enemy unit that has 2 or more models and is wholly within range and visible to the caster. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models. For each 6, they suffer a mortal wound. In addition, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit until your next hero phase. Pretty solid.
Yeah, I like the fact it's got a debuff in there as well as the damage, because if it's just the damage, you're probably never going to cast it.
No, you wouldn't want to as much. But to me, the damage is secondary to that. That's quite a nice thing to pop into something. Then you plow your, tooled up, maybe 5-up warded unit into it, and you're going to survive.
Pretty forever. Nice if you hit them with both that and Arcane Suggestion.
Yes. Yeah, you could stop them from using CPs as well, which would be pretty sick. Unchecked Mutation. Casting value is 6, range of 18. Pick 1 enemy unit within range, D3 mortal wounds. If any models from that unit are slain, you can roll a dice on a 3+. That unit suffers an additional D3 mortal wounds. So that's fairly reliable damage against 1 or 2 wound things.
Yeah, that's good.
Cold Realities next. Casting value was 7, range of 18. These are quite low casting value for their power, it feels like, in Tzeentch anyway. If successfully cast, pick 1 friendly Tzeentch demon unit, wholly within range and visible. Roll a dice. On a 1, it's destroyed, risky. On a 2+, you can return a number of slain models equal to the roll to the unit. So,
yeah,
horribly swingy.
But it's if you've got Kairos, I know the combo used to be to use his dice manipulation on that to return loads of Enlightened. I don't know if they've still got the demon keyword. Is it worth
clarifying what modified and what is modified and isn't modified?
How do you
need to do that at this point? Because there's a few things that we've said that are modified dice rolls. An unmodified dice roll is a fate dice an unmodified dice roll.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Why you're bringing it
up? Doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Next,
no.
Tzeentch's Firestorm is a spell that has.
That's right. You can explain it. I just didn't know why you're mentioning.
Nah, it's all good. We'll go around again. Tzeentch's Firestorm is a spell that has a casting value of 8 and a range of 12. It successfully casts, pick 1 enemy unit within range and visible to the caster, and roll 9 dice for each 6 D3 mortal wounds. Pretty powerful. 12 isn't too long range, obviously, but that's still a really, really scary spell.
Yeah, if you roll, it's fairly scary because if you pop a couple 6s, it's
grim.
You should do at least
is way better than 1d6.
Yeah,
we talk about this a lot. 3d3, sorry, is really reliable damage if you can get that through. And then they've also got Bolt of Tzeentch, which is exactly the same.
Yeah. Was your modified thing to do with fate dice? So I just want to know what you're talking about. We can talk about it. Just like
so when we've read modified previously, is a fate dice a modified roll?
Oh, you mean if you use a fate dice to change it? Is that
modified?
It says here any rolls that have been replaced count as unmodified rolls.
There we go.
And cannot be reroll or modified unless noted below.
So even though you have changed it.
So save rolls, you must still modify the roll, but the others, and Battle Shock, you must still modify.
Got you.
So they've clarified that because I think that was an issue in the past with fate dice.
Yeah, super strong. But for anyone who's playing and thinks, "Oh, I have changed that, so it is modified," that doesn't necessarily mean that it is.
Yeah. So like your hit dice would be an unmodified roll and cannot be modified. So basically, if you replace the hit dice and you're -2 to hit, you'd still hit. So it's almost like the result after modifiers, except for saves and battle shocks. It's confusing.
I can never get my head around these things. They don't go in. Both strong spell laws, though. Really, really strong, which is probably what we should expect from Tzeentch, I guess.
Yeah.
Coven's next.
Yeah, so these are like your big overarching rules. So
each of these will kind of dictate what type of army you're taking.
Yeah, they give you a slight I mean, it depends. Like, I know they used to be massively impactful, but now I don't think they are quite as much. So you've got the internal conflagration, which is improved.
Russ, I've read the first two.
I know, yeah.
Backpedal with that.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh dear.
I was about to say that, but yeah. So improve the rend of friendly internal conflagration units, warp flame, billowing warp flame, and magical flame missile weapons by 1. So that's huge.
All the flamers and exalted flamers and flamer chariots.
And I think that's obviously also really horrors. Good. Magical flames.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and their shooting is surprisingly good, or it was in the past.
Well, it's a lot of it, isn't there?
Yeah, just quantity of dice. So that's very good. And I guess we'll find out whether certain things become battle line when we get to the section. Host Duplicitous is next. Enemy units within 3 inches of friendly Host Duplicitous units with 10 or more models. No, not difficult to get 10 or more models in this army, because when you hit things, they multiply. In addition, cannot retreat. So that's already far too good and far too strong, but there's some more. Let's see what it says. In addition, once per battle, when a Host Duplicitous horrors of unit from your starting army is destroyed, you can roll a dice. On a 4+, add a Host Duplicitous horrors, blah, 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 with 5 models to your army. That's a lovely bonus. Still super strong. Set the new unit up within 12 of any hero and more than 9 from all enemy units.
Yeah. So your horror units are basically tar pits, and when you kill them, they can regenerate.
Yeah. Yeah, when you kill the first one, there's a 50-50 chance. I mean, that's sweet NPE. Host Arcanum. Once per turn, in your first, third, and fifth battle rounds, when a friendly Host Arcanum wizard attempts to unbind a spell, you can choose for that spell to be When a friend...
You get an automatic unbind, basically.
Oh, an unbind, yeah.
Is it per wizard? No, once per turn. There you go.
Once per turn. I mean, turn 1 is when people do very important things. So probably just for that. I guess it depends what the army's worried about, isn't it? If they're worried about Nagash popping off something really scary, or someone purple.
Yeah, I still don't think you're picking that over the other two, but if you're playing demons, I mean, like...
No, definitely not. The Cult of the Transient Form is next. Roll a dice each time a friendly cult, blah, 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 is slain in the combat phase. On a 2 to 5, before removing that model from play, the model can fight. On a 6, before removing that model from play, you can add 1 Tzaangor model to a friendly Tzaangor host within 9 inches of the slain model. The new model can only be set up within 3 inches of an enemy if the unit is already within 3 inches of an enemy. Fairly solid.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see that, because it's Kairic Acolytes only, and then it's like, they're not particularly brilliant, and then you're like, oh, I need to have a Tzaangor unit within range, and then I think Tzaangor host is just the infantry as well, so it's not like the Enlightened or Skyfires. So
got you, yeah. More thematic, I guess we'd say, for that one. Pyrophane Cult. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with Sorcerous Bolts by Pyrophane Cult's Kairic Acolyte units. In addition, end of your shooting phase, roll a dice for each enemy unit that suffered any wounds caused by attacks made with Sorcerous Bolts by Pyrophane Cult units in that phase on a 5+ D3 mortal wounds. Probably similar, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you're running lots of Acolytes, I'll probably lean into that more than the Transient Form one.
Yeah, it's a bit more reliable, isn't it? More walls. It's very, very good in Tzeentch. Finally, the Guild of Summoners. If your army has the Guild of Summoners keyword, your fate points can only be used to summon Lord of Change units. Instead of a fate point cost of 30, a Lord of Change has a cost of 9 fate points to summon for the first time and 18 each time thereafter for the rest of the battle. In addition, Lord of Change units summoned in this way must be set up wholly within 9 of a Guild of Summoners Arcanite hero and more than 9 from all enemy units. So if you really like putting chickens on the table, that's the one that you go for.
It's quite a cool thematic idea that they just summon like the big demon, basically.
Yeah. It's not that unreliable to get it off either. Like 9 for your first one, you're gonna be spaffing out spells pretty reliably once that's on the table, and getting to 9 isn't too difficult, I would imagine, if you are leaning into it.
No, I think it's good. I mean, I think, like you say, the Eternal Conflagration and Host Duplicitous are very strong. And
are you about the damage? Are you about the tar pit? Pick one of those.
I mean, I think these are very similar to the current ones. I don't think they're very different. Like, then we got grand strategies and battle tactics. So you've got the grand strategy, which is dominate arcane nexus. So when the battle ends, complete this grand strategy. Release one friendly Disciple of Tzeentch wizard, Horrors of Tzeentch unit, or Kairic Acolyte unit is wholly within each large quarter of the battlefield.
Guess we'll read the others. See how that feels. Yeah, bit weird. When the battle ends, wait, it's not from your starting army, so it could be summoned.
Yeah.
Master of Destiny. When the battle ends, add the rolls of any Destiny dice that you have used.
Not used.
You complete this grand strategy if the total is 9 or more. So if you're generating them, you could just.
Well, you could just decide not to spend them.
Yeah.
And just say, well, I'll guarantee it. Like, you know.
There's nothing your opponent can do about that.
No,
apart from
they can't stop you.
To pull them out. Yeah. Preponderance of Fate. Great name. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy. If you have more than 27 unspent Fate points, that is a lot of spells.
Yeah. And also, you're not using them. So,
yeah
don't like that one.
Going to not help you in the game. Realm of Magic. When this battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there are 2 or more endless spells on the battlefield that are under your control. Should be fairly doable as Tzeentch.
Difficult because you can only have 3.
And then against some armies are particularly good at getting rid of them as well. You're going to really care about who gets the last turn.
The wizard's got to be alive because if they've died, they're not controlling it anymore. So I think you just take Master of Destiny because you can basically guarantee that.
Yeah, because you use up, a couple of 3s and a couple of 3s in there and a 4.
Well, like,
you're done.
Yeah. Or what do you do with your 3 Destiny? Your Destiny dice, which are 3s. You got 3 of them. It's 9. There you go. Done.
So they're battle tactics. Call for change. Complete this tactic if you summon a Lord of Change to the battlefield this turn. Nice to have that as an option. Quite high though, unless you're in a particular host.
But if you're in the summoners and you've already got 9, you're going to do it. So you're like, well, it's going to
be a baller turn for you. Summon this for 9 points.
Too.
Like, got off a load of spells. Get a free Lord of Change. Do this. Yeah, not bad. Mass Conjuration. Pick one friendly Disciples of Tzeentch wizard. You complete this battle tactic if that wizard successfully casts 3 or more spells in that turn and none of those spells are unbound. Good to sit on against some armies. That'll be fairly doable.
Depends on how many free cast wizards you've got, basically.
Yeah, and whether you've given them the rerolls and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you've got a Lord of Change, I don't know if Lord of Change get 3 spells now because they used to get 2, I think. But if they get 3 and you've got rerolls, then that's like it's easy as pie.
There's got to be a way for someone to get to 3.
You could do it on turn 1 because you could just set up outside of unbind range and just go cast, done.
Yeah, cast 5, 4, and 4 cost value spells or something. 9-fold dismantlement. Pick one enemy unit that has 9 or more models, or pick one enemy hero or monster that has a wound characteristic of 9 or more. You complete this battle tactic if that unit is destroyed by the end of this turn. Another solid option.
Very easy, I think, that one.
Absolutely. Because it covers all types of army, right? People are either going to be all monstery or all infantry or a mix.
And it doesn't say they have to have 9 wounds left. They just have 2 wounds characteristics. They could have 1 wound left and you just go, I'll kill that one.
Yeah. Ping. Reckless Abandon. One friendly mortal Disciples of Tzeentch unit that is more than 18 from all enemy units. You complete this battle tactic. If that unit completes a charge move in this turn, you got Fate dice. That's super doable. Final one is Tides of Anarchy. You complete this battle tactic if you gain control of an objective that was controlled by your opponent at the start of your hero phase, and you have 9 or more friendly models within 6 of that objective when you gain control of it. Pretty solid selection.
Like some of these are super easy.
There's not much your opponent can do about.
I mean, like if you think about like how do you win Age of Sigmar, right? So you win by completing battle tactics and objective control.
Or control, killing your opponent.
Horrors.
Tick.
And then you go, well, I've got all these easy tactics and I've got a guaranteed grand strategy and I'm going to win on objectives. So I'm just going to win games by existing. Literally don't need to do anything. Just exist. Tar pit.
I put those at
buff.
Only slightly worse than the Daughters of Cain ones.
Can you actually cast that 5-up ward on a horror unit? Because it says Tzeentch unit, right?
I think it was unrestricted. It was only the final spell.
It's a mortal spell, but
okay, it says Tzeentch unit, friendly Tzeentch unit, wholly within range, and has to be within 18. Wow.
You imagine like a unit of like 20 horrors with a 5-up ward in Duplicitous Host. Well, that's against spells and endless spells, but you know, just sat there.
Sorry,
like
multiplying and existing. Yeah, strong. A core battalion is not quite. Do you want to read Omniscient Oracles?
Not really.
No, loads of birds. I mean, if you're doing that bird thing, then maybe you're into that. But
and if you haven't noticed, there's very slight difference between the icons. It is Kairos and Freelord Chains, right?
Hey, he's got another head.
Is there a way? Are they battle line in an army? Then I don't like. How do you take that? I mean,
then lots of points.
Can we have a look? What are they? So you've got. What's the Lord of Change then? 400 points. And Kairos is what, 435?
The back trying.
So how on earth do you fit that in an army? So what would that be? Like 1635? So you've got like...
Horrors are going to cost quite a lot. You have to... Acolytes.
But they're 360? So you could do it? 3 units of 10 Acolytes and 4 Lords of Change?
I mean, that's your plan.
I mean,
look quite good.
You get a lot of summoning. I mean,
that's a very Tzeentchy army in all ways, shapes, and forms. Is that our segue into Kairos?
That's just weird, isn't it? I mean, does anything else change with the Covens? No, you don't get any battle line ifs with Coven. The Tzaangor, Acolytes, and Horrors, if they don't, the horror thing, I just don't even want to read that. It's a paragraph in the pitch battle profile. I'm sure the War Scroll probably takes up 2 pages as well.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
It only takes like 5 editions of the book before they actually do something about that War Scroll.
It's been a favourite of mine for so long. I'm really excited for it.
Honestly.
Just general rule of thumb, if you would like a more pleasant game, just have 1 unit maximum.
Actually, when I played against one of the guys at the tournament, the guy I mentioned earlier, and he said, I won't name who he is. He said, oh, I don't take horrors because I just don't want to deal with using them, and I don't like that people don't like playing against them, so he doesn't want to play with them, which is a shame because it's just
it's like when the Lumineth book came out and people were like, I'm doing this so my opponents don't hate me.
Yeah. And other people go, I'm taking 4 foxes because I don't care, or I'm taking like 180 horrors because I don't care.
Obviously, everyone do what you want, but do be prepared that if you
get your bum bag out.
Yeah, get your accountant's bum bag out on the table.
End up with a bad back after 2 games. Or after getting to turn 3 and having to talk out the game. Because they can't actually finish it physically, but you just go, well, you're not going to be able to win because I exist. Great.
Let's talk about someone who can win some games. There's only one model. 435 points worth of Tzeentch prime real estate. Mr. Kairos Fateweaver. What does he do, Russ?
You get +1 to cast, dispel, and unbind for all Tzeentch wizards while they're wholly within 18. And this unit knows all the spells from the Law of Change.
He's got 3 spells and 3 unbinds.
Yep. Spell Thief. If a unit successfully dispels an endless spell, instead of dispelling it, you can say it'll steal it. The unit gains control of the endless spell and counts as the wizard that summoned it. Oh, that's nice. So you could just take over a spell. I'm going to have that one, please.
Yes, please.
Interesting. Quite like that. Because it used to be an auto dispel, I think. So that's really nice that he just steals it and goes, no, that's mine now.
Pretty nice thematic change, I feel.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Obviously, some spells only affect certain keywords, so I'm not sure it will do much, but it's at least you get control of where it moves and stuff. So
if you've already got 3 out, does that mean that you lose control of one of them?
You can only control one.
If he's got 1 out, then he'd swap over to that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe
Oracle of Eternity.
You've still got to dispel it, though, haven't you? She says if he dispels an endless spell, instead of dispelling it, you can steal it. So
yeah.
You still got to roll, but you should do.
Yeah, so. But he's got 3 unbind. You're not going to be low on unbinds in this army, I feel. Oracle of Eternity is next. Start your hero phase. If this unit is part of your army and on the battlefield and you have fewer than 9 Destiny dice, you can roll a dice and add it to your Destiny dice. That's efficient. So already you could have him and someone else and be just popping 2 dice in your pool a turn with other stuff involved.
Wait a
Mastery
minute.
of...
He's not got his auto change of dice anymore. It's gone. Or am I just not seeing it? No, it's gone.
It's not there.
Oh. No more Kairos dice. Every time, if you choose Kairos, change the start results of this. Oh, that's big.
It is a very big change. I'm down. He still seems worth his point so far.
I think he's in the Tzeentch army, which is the key bot, and not in like Demonic Legion or whatever it's called. You know, better cause for friends.
Better cause. Super best friends. When you make a casting and binding or dispelling roll for this unit, you can change the lowest d6 to match the highest d6. So it's at +1, and you get to do that.
Where does he get +1 from? Did I miss that? Oh, add 1 to cast rolls. Yeah, beacon of sorcery. Yeah.
Dispelling and unbinding. So everything affects casting, spelling, and unbinding. And you match the d6s. So he's rate good. Infernal Gateway, classic. Casting value of 7 and range of 18. Pick 1 enemy unit within range visible to the caster and roll 9 dice. That enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound for each roll that is equal to or greater than the Infernal Gateway value shown on the caster's damage table. And that starts at a 3 until he's taken 7 wounds.
So Gift of Change is gone, which is what he used to have, where he used to generate spawns.
Yeah.
So he doesn't generate spawns, doesn't manipulate a dice. He works well in his Tzeentch army because you get the Destiny dice, but that does nothing in Demonic Legion.
Yeah.
Spell Thief is not an automatic unbind, so you now got to roll for it and use up one of your casts.
He's pretty close to what a Lord of Change did, right?
Yeah.
I'm interested if there's... Are we just going to see...
In a way.
Are we just going to see 35 points less?
And you can give him stuff.
When you turn the page. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, the +1 to cast for everything, the +1 cast on bind and dispel is massive. So I don't. That's really good, and I like the Destiny dice thing.
Yeah, the values weren't low in the book. Destiny dice is great. Probably where he should be about, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and a Lord of Change only gets 2 spells, so you can't use the battle tactic with him.
And there's 1 less spell when you got a pretty... And he doesn't know all the law.
But Beacon of Sorcery is still there?
Yeah. Knowing all the law is huge, though, right? It's a good law.
Hang on. I've just spotted something with a beacon. Add 1 to cast and spell rolls for friendlies while they are wholly within 18 of this unit. Does it say any unit with this ability? So they stack.
Ooh.
So if you've got 4 Lords of Change, you're getting +4 to cast, unbind,
we're going to change our tune. Imagine 4 of those stood together, spaffing out spells. But
it's not even just them; it's everything.
Plus 4. Just little circle jerk of magic.
Magic jerk.
Wonderful.
Should we have as Lord of Change? You call him Magic Mike.
Why not?
I mean, he's only wearing a loincloth. It kind of works, right?
We'll go super solid. I reckon we can pull it off.
Wow. Okay. That might get FAQ'd.
That seems too good, right?
That seems a bit.
It's like
of an oversight.
You could just put crap. I mean, how many spells are you definitely getting off? There, you're getting off Kairos' 3, and then for your 3 other lords, so you're getting 9 spells off guaranteed, which makes you a Lord of Change.
If you're in that
coven,
but you needed Mortal Hero for that, so you can't, because you need a Mortal Hero to summon from. Because it only works off a more Arcanite hero, and they're not Arcanites. So
you can't do that. Instead, you'll just have to drop horrors all over the battlefield, which is probably way better.
Yeah.
Spell Thief, he's got the same stuff going on.
Basically got exactly the same rules. The only difference, he doesn't get the Destiny dice, 1 less cast.
And he's better in combat.
2 less wounds.
Has a shooting attack, which is actually quite good. Range 18, 2d6, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. Solid.
Is he better in combat?
He's got
probably not.
3, 4.
No, I don't think he is. Similar.
Slightly higher quantity of attacks.
Because he won't have the staff and the sword, will he? He'll be either have the staff and a sword, or the staff and a rod, or the staff and the beak and talons. So basically, if you've got the rod, you don't have, so you can't have all of that. You just pick.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So about the same melee profile, missing out on the shooting attack. Shooting attack's good though. Like 7 shots on average, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1, range 18, on a fast-moving flying model.
Yeah. I mean, he's not rubbish. 400 points seems steep.
Just got to times it by 4 for the power Russ.
4 to the 4.
I mean,
you can still take 3 for 1,200 points. I mean,
just having 2 of them in an army, buffing your other cheaper dudes and making them like +2 to cast, unbind, and dispel is incredible. I think 400 in this book, 400 is okay, which I guess is the attempt, right? Because you could ally him into other armies. He's just not going to be he'll buff himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's Tzeentch Wizard, so depends on what the army's got in it. If it's sort of Slaves to Darkness one,
quite good up.
Yeah,
quite a good option. Yeah.
Then he's got a few good things.
It's all the same.
So
it's just identical, isn't it? Basically, slightly cheaper. Cut price Kairos.
Then you've got
the Fate skimmer next.
Yeah, you go for that.
Okay, so move 14, tasty. Got some magical flames on the go, which will get buffed if you're in that allegiance. 1 cast once per battle. You can reroll 1 casting roll for this unit. If you do, add 3 to the new casting roll. Solid. Yeah, really solid. That's just amazing, actually. After this unit has made a normal move, run or retreated, pick 1 enemy unit and roll a dice that is passed across. On a 2+, suffers D3 mortal wounds. Great. Tzeentch's Firestorm. Spell with a casting value of 9 and a range of 9. High casting value, but good thing you got Arcane Tome on the go. If successfully cast, roll a dice for each enemy unit that was in range and visible to the caster. On a 2+, D3 mortal wounds. He's a little zippy suicide bomber, isn't he?
Yes, he's got the Chariot, isn't it? So he's 180 points.
Only 1 cast, but it's a pretty reliable one. If you fail it, adding up little bits of incremental damage. Probably one of those ones that doesn't look great for his points, but used well, you could get the value out of. 8 wounds, 4 up save. Then we're straight through to a Chaos Spawn. It's a spawn.
I don't really understand the order of this, but there you go.
No, that's broken my head. Straight on to the characters. So we've got a Pluck Master next. Herald of Tzeentch on disc. So you can fly, cast 1 spell. Once per battle, you can reroll. He's got the same Arcane Tome rule. Blue Fire of Tzeentch. Casting value of 8, range of 18, 1 enemy unit, and visible to the caster. Roll 9 dice for each 5+, 1 mortal wound. And the caster's army receives 1 fate point if it is a Disciples of Tzeentch army. Solid spell.
Is that 1 fate point?
No. Oh wait, that for each 5+. Yeah. And the cast. Yes. Yeah, it's a very solid spell.
That's a really good spell because basically it's every 5 up is a mortal wound and you get a fate per that, and that's what you use to summon demons.
And you already cast a spell, so you're getting 1+ however many 5s you add, so you're getting 4 or 5 probably, which is incredibly really efficient. 16-inch move on this guy. He's even faster because he's on a screamer.
Little disc.
Also an alright melee profile due to the disc. And 3 attacks. Shooting, range 18, 4s and 4s, rend 1, damage 1. None of the shooting profiles in Tzeentch are like crazy good, but they're pretty much everywhere. So each one you add up, it just gives you more options, especially when you add it to your spells.
He's only 10 points cheaper, but yeah, pretty good though. I mean,
that spell's worth it, right?
Spell's probably worth it, yeah.
I think so. That's basically, you get that off twice and you're adding a unit to the table.
If they fixed the Changeling, have they made him useful? Probably not.
Cast 2 spells and unbind 2 spells. Archdeceiver after deployment. but before the first battle round begins, you can remove him. If you do, at the end of your first movement phase, you must set this unit up anywhere within your opponent's territory for more than 3 from all enemy units. Pukish? Misdirection? I've never seen that word before. In the enemy hero phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 9. If you do so, until your opponent's next hero phase, subtract 1 from all hit rolls and attacks made by that unit and half the move characteristic of the enemy unit, rounding up. Still pretty powerful. How many points is he?
The Changeling is 160.
Okay. He's got 5 wounds and a 5 up save, so you may well be sending him on a suicide mission unless you put him in a really annoying direction and you're willing to have him kind of stodge something up to the side of your opponent's army. But debuffing something's moves, very powerful. If your opponent's got a missile that they're looking to launch at you, or a combat one.
Depends if you can get enough summoning points to
put something else in the way.
Put something else, because it says at the end of your first movement phase. So, and you summon at the end of the movement phase, right? So you choose the order as your go. So
yeah.
You could pop him in their deployment zone, then deploy a thing around him if you've got enough fate points in the first turn.
The enemy hero phase thing, slightly awkwardly timed, isn't it?
It's probably the right time to do it, because if you win the turn, then you haven't wasted it. And then if they win the turn, like it would be quite good against stuff like Iron Jaws, because they want to do like, all this hero phase super movement, and you just go, I just half cabbage. Move.
Yeah, now, I mean, like, now moving normally.
It's a bit expensive to have a throwaway hero like that. He's very interesting. I think he's quite difficult to use well.
Yeah. But he is defensive for an army that, apart from Horus Dodge, doesn't defend itself particularly well.
No.
Picking that one enemy unit and dicking it about or stopping it from reaching you and allowing you to kill it before.
You have to then deal with him, right?
Yeah,
like, you have to go and 2 spells. Him.
He could drop a palisade in front of himself or something. Fancy things he could do.
Well, he can't do that because he moves. It's unless you win the turn roll, because basically it's it's the movement phase. He comes down. So if it's the hero phase, you could do it because you could put him there. Then you could cast, but you can't. So you'd have to like wait for you going bottom of a turn. So say you give them turn 1, they move. You go right now. My go bottom of the turn. I've plopped him down. They maybe cast a couple spells. I cast spells. I know I've got so many fate points. Right, I plop him down. I can summon a unit to screen him if I want. I can then then you roll for the turn. If he wins the turn roll, then you're like, okay, cool. I can cast spell. I can put a palisade, whatever, down. If they win the turn roll, then you could use his misdirection.
Also gives you an option to unbind. If your opponent's going to struggle to stop him from being within unbind range of their stuff, and if you've got 2 fate dice and you really don't want your opponent, like relocating a damage unit, like Skaven would hate to see this, wouldn't they? You'd throw away that guy to stop Storm Fiends from popping up and shooting you, or Thanquol or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
Options. He's techie to use for sure.
It's a bit expensive, I think. I don't know. I don't think you'll see him very often.
Lovely model. Well.
Really nice model. Most of the Tzeentch models are nice.
Until we get to the busy ones. Changecaster, Herald of Tzeentch is next. So he's only moving 5 inches, which feels really slow after everyone else flying around. 1 cast, 1 unbind. Once per battle, he's got the Arcane Tome. Everyone's got it seems. Pink Fire Tzeentch. Casting value of 7, range of 18. Pick 1 enemy unit within range. Subtract 1 from save rolls for attacks that target that unit until your next hero phase. Pretty decent spell.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth including him just for that, because if you have on top of that Arcane Suggestion, they could be -2 armor save before you even had any rend, and if you're
you have Flamers or whatever, that +1 rend, -4.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't matter what your damage is then.
I'm glad his spell is that good, because otherwise you'd never take him, because he's 140 points. So like you just spend the extra to get the extra movement and the fate dice pool. But
in the right army, he's got a place.
Do you think you might see armies that have got 1 of each? Like, just, I want that spell, I want that guy, I want that spell.
I wouldn't be surprised if people go Kairos and then go...
Yeah, like Kairos, Lord of Change, Chaincast, Flux Master, or whatever it's called, the Gaunt Disc, the Gaunt Foot. horrors, and the scribes normally are like auto pick. I don't know if they've changed them, but we want to that now, so
we'll find out. Yeah, still move 16 inches, which is obviously great. Can attempt to cast one spell and unbind one spell. So looking standard so far. No book. Instead, they have a different book. Frantic Scribbling. Each time an enemy wizard within 9 of this unit successfully casts a spell, and that spell is not unbound, you can roll a dice. On a 3+, you receive a fate point. Not sure if you want this guy hanging around too close to people. This unit knows all the spells from the Law of Fate and Law of Change. In addition, once in each of your hero phases, when this unit attempts to cast a spell, instead of making it, yeah, he's still good, isn't he? You can say that he will read from its scrolls of sorcery. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 2+, the spell is successfully cast and cannot be unbound. How many points is this bad boy now?
160.
I mean, worth every point of it.
Yeah, especially I think
that's
he's
your way
great.
To not,
you know,
that's your way to not have to include an Arcanite wizard if you don't want to.
Yeah, because he gets to know the law.
And the spell not being unable to be unbound is just.
I'll have a 2+ arcane suggestion, please, Bob.
What? Grim. On the subject of Grim, segue.
Oh no,
Russ, do you want to take these?
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
I'll read stuff and you can explain to me as my eyes.
I don't know. Okay. Just tell me how much of the game I don't get to play because you've got this model on the table. That's all.
Okay, so we've got Herald and Tzeentch, which have for a long time, if anyone wants a history lesson, in Age of Sigmar, been basically one of the best battle line units in the game. And when you're forced to take 3 battle line units, turning up with something this good is a super good way to make sure that you win your games. Anyway, that sounds really positive. Let's head backwards from there. So, when you pick this unit to be part of your army, or when you summon this unit and add it to your army, you must decide if this unit will have either the Split and Split Again ability or the Petty Vengeance ability. You cannot have both. Note the choice on your army roster. Where are we? Okay, we now have to skip some stuff to do with standard bearers and musicians. I'm going to ignore all of that because I don't think it's particularly important. Standard bearers, though. 1 in every 10 pink horrors in this unit can be pink horror icon bearer.
It's quite
your hero phase.
Important with the wound allocation. So it says each model in the Horrors of Tzeentch unit must be either a pink, blue, or brimstone. You can have different horrors in the same unit. You cannot allocate wounds or more wounds to a blue horror if it's got an iridescent or pink horror, and you cannot allocate to a brimstone if it includes any blue. So you've always got to allocate to pinks, then blues, then brims.
From the bottom up.
Top down.
The top down. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Your icon bearer can roll 1 dice for each pink horror icon bearer in the unit. You can have multiple, 1 for every 10. For each 3+, you receive 1 fate point. Fairly efficient.
So they just generate you summoning points, basically.
Yeah, pretty reliably too. Split and Split Again. So this is one of the 2 rules that you have to pick. Each time an iridescent horror or pink horror in this unit is slain by a wound or mortal wound, so if it dies, but not due to battle shock, it does not count as having been slain, but you must immediately remove it for play and replace it with 2 blue horrors that are added to the unit. Each time a blue horror in this unit is slain by a wound or mortal wound, you do the same, but you replace it with 1 brimstone horrors model that is added to the unit. Is that less than it was? Did you used to add more brims than that?
No, because a brim's got 2 models on a base. So you basically, because you double up the blues, so when you kill a pink, you get 2 blues. When you kill a blue, you get a brim. So 1 pink is 4 extra models. So 10 pink horrors is exactly 50 wounds.
So really, they should be 500 points by average wound cost.
Yeah, but they're 250. So, did you notice the musician gives you +1 to save rolls?
You what?
So it says 1 in every 10 pink horrors can be a musician. Add 1 to save rolls while it includes any pink horror hornblowers.
Where's that come from?
Well, I think because pinks had a 5-up save, but then brims and blues have 6-up. So it's like you got to kill that first. So I don't know. Basically, pink horrors have got a 5-up save. The others have got a 6-up save, which I think is what they had anyway. I don't know.
That's an interesting way of doing it. Adding and removing horrors, probably fairly important. Replacement models that are added to this unit must be set up 1 at a time within 1 inch of the position that was occupied by the model they are replacing. This is fairly important because if someone circles you, you may end up running out of space. Or they could restrict you or push you in a certain direction. Replacement models that are added to this unit can only be set up within 3 of an enemy unit if you're already within 3 of an enemy unit. Replacement models added to this unit cannot take it above its maximum size.
I don't get that.
No, because it's automatically going to be I don't think maximum size is specified anywhere. I presume that means that you can't add in extra pinks if it was already.
I think that's what it's saying, but
yeah, maybe a more clear way to put that.
Well, you immediately think that if you killed one pink and it splits into 2 blues, you can only put one
11.
blue down because it's 11 and that's above its max size. So I don't.
Hey, that'd fix it. That'd fix it. If we take it like that.
Yeah, but then why don't you just make a pink split to 1 blue then?
I know. Designers note horrors that flee cannot split and split again. So yeah. Petty Vengeance is the other rule. If a model in that unit is slain, you can pick one enemy unit within 1 inch of this unit and roll a dice. If the roll is equal to or greater than the Petty Vengeance roll for the slain model, so iridescent 3+, pink 4+, blue 5+, brimstone 6+, that enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. That's pretty good, but I guess people are probably going to be specifying I'd like more free models for forever.
You're never taking it, unless you're just one of those people who couldn't be bothered to paint them all and you haven't got them.
In which case, good on you.
Or you just, because unless they have a different points cost, like if horrors with Petty Vengeance costs 120 points and ones without cost 250, you might take them. But they don't. So
there's some stuff about points, isn't there?
Yeah, but basically it's 250 points unless the unit contains no pink horrors. It's 150. If it contains no pink and no blue, it's 125. So basically, you can buy blues and brims without having pink horrors, but they're not battle line and they cost less points. So you could buy blue horrors, which split and split again for 150 points, but you can't. They're not battle line, so it's just like if you wanted to buy the unit in your army.
If you go in all demons, then it allows you to build an army more easily, I guess, because 250 points is not.
But they're not battle line.
It's quite a lot to spend. If you wanted to screen,
maybe. Yeah, but horrors, 125 points for 10 brims as a screen is expensive, right?
It is, yeah.
Especially when they literally do nothing for your army because they don't have a banner, so they don't generate fate points. They don't. I mean, you just give them Petty Vengeance, right? But then you do a wound on a 6. It's like, what do they give you?
You're only doing that if you want a screen, I guess.
You get 1 shooting attack per guy, maybe. But I just, you just, it's so much more efficient just to buy a pink horror unit if you could afford it. So, yeah, I think you just buy Kairic Acolytes for 120, like because they're 5 points cheaper, and you just go. Yeah, I'd take those.
Worth covering their shooting attacks, which are kind of weirdly on the profile.
So you get either 3 shots, 2 shots, or 1 shot, or if you're the champion, you get 6. 12-inch range, 5s, 4s, no rend 1 damage. So
that adds up, people. We're not listing good sounding stats, but that really adds up. Like it's very, very good. And rend 1 in internal configuration, don't you?
Yeah, and you can give them bonuses to hit and all that sort of stuff. So.
Horrors are still good.
Yeah, I just wish they'd make the scroll less like if you're like I'm reading all those rules and I don't really because it's that line replacement models added to unit can take it above its maximum size. There you go. So yeah, you can. So like I don't know, like it's just a lot of words. Like I just think it's so much. I don't know. I just really dislike it. Like,
cap it at 1 unit, guys, if you want a pleasant experience playing with your army. Yeah. Right, we're on to.
I think that's close to how they work now with the FAQ. I don't think there's much difference. On
to the damagey stuff next. So we've got the Burning Chariots. They've got range 18 shooting attack, 4 attacks, 4s, 3s, rend 1, damage D3. Obviously, that can be rend 2. Pretty decent shooting attack. Move 14 as well. Add 1 for hit rolls for attack rolls made with this unit's building Warp Flame or Flaming Moors if the target unit has 5 or more models. Pretty good. So they're buffing themselves automatically against larger targets. Wake of Fire. After this unit has made a normal move, run, or retreated, pick one enemy unit and roll a dice. On a 2+, they take just 1 mortal wound, not D3 or anything, but it's a nice little bonus, and you're pretty fast. How many points are they, Russ? They unchanged. These got 140, 160, didn't they? Maybe it was 180.
Pass. I shut the book. The Burning Chariot, is it?
Yeah.
I've got to find it. I've been in a weird place. 180.
180, yeah. So
they can be battle line if you've got a Fate Skimmer as your general.
Pretty good option is battle line. I wouldn't be having 3 of them, but it lets you get to battle line more easily, and horrors are quite expensive. Screamers of Tzeentch are next. Move 16, speedy. Pretty boring profile. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. After this unit has made a normal move, run, retreated, or made a charge, pick one enemy unit and roll a dice for each model in this unit that's passed across any models in that unit. Breach 4+, suffers 1 mortal wound. That's not to be underestimated. It's fairly reliable if you've got 3 that you can ping a wound here or there, but they've got to be pretty cheap.
They lost the D3 damage against monsters, which is big, and they used to have that ability where you could summon a unit and not have Screamers for free as well in the old book, and they're pretty underwhelming, to be honest.
Shame, because they're pretty classic Tzeentchy stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 100 points, and they're battle line in Host Arcanum, so
100 points for 9 wounds that move 16 with a 5+ save and 9 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1 attacks, and a bit of an upside.
So if
it's not
the Host
it's not awful when you bounce it up.
Is that the one? I'm just debating. That's not the one where you get the Lord of Change quick summon, is it? Host Arcanum.
I do not know.
Quick look. Oh no, it's Guild of Summoners. No.
Host Arcanum is first,
the
3rd, and 5th battle rounds. Yeah.
I was just thinking if it's the other one, you might better fit Kairos, the free Lord of Change, 3 units of Screamers, and a mortal hero for the summoning.
That would tasty, wouldn't it?
So, not quite. Oh well.
No, I guess you could ally. You could. No, you couldn't. Could you ally in dirt cheap battle line from anywhere?
They're not battle line if they're allies.
No, you can't. All right then. Exalted.
You might better coalition.
That's.
But I don't think they're battle line.
Not anything
then either, and I don't think they're cheap enough.
No. Exalted Flamers next. So it's got the same shooting profile on building Warp Flame. 4 attacks, 4s, 3s, rend 1, damage D3, and you add hits in the same manner. That's it. Pretty simple profile. Moves 9, flies, 4 wounds only, and a 4-up save. So pretty fragile, but they always have been.
Yeah. 130 points.
I mean, you just probably pay a bit more and get slightly more wounds and a lot more move, right?
What's that? Sorry, for
the chariot, yeah, you got the same shooting profile.
It's just whether or not, because Flamers, they're meant to be 2 Flamers combined. So but Flamers seem like they get 3 shots each.
Yeah, so range 18, 3 attacks, 3s and 4s, no rend, damage D3.
Why is that? Why have they got a... anyway, I'm just going to whinge. I'm not going to whinge.
Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks.
So they're 3s and 4s, but the others are 4s and 3s? Why different?
And they don't have rend, and they have D3 damage, which is the same.
What?
I think that's silly. It's asking for...
what? Why? Add 1 to hit rolls... for attacks made with this weapons, Warp Flame or Flaming Moors, if the target has 5 or more models. So we're already hitting on 2s.
Same as previous, and you add 1 to the attacks characteristics of this unit's Warp Flame while it's wholly within 9 of any friendly Exalted Flamers or any burning chariots.
So that's nice.
A higher quantity of lower quality attacks, but they hit really reliably.
Yeah, and they're battle line in a Eternal Conflagration, and they'd actually have Ren 1 then as well, and the Exalted would be Ren 2. They've got a 4-up save. I always thought they actually have a 5-up save, so I think the save's got better. So
how many points is it for
190 for free?
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, but that's 9 shots, and if you're in range, it's 12 shots.
Yeah.
They move 9, they fly, they got an 18-inch range, and the Exalted Flamer. No, I think they're pretty good. I mean, you'd be
It's always been scary to see. You just got to take them down and prioritize them.
Yeah, I think like if you play an internal conflagration, like a few units of these with Exalted and then the Screen of Horrors, you're going to be doing so much damage. Like, I don't really see how else you do damage with the demons. You either tar pit with Horrors or you take loads of Flamers. Other than that, there is no real melee combat in Tzeentch.
You've got like discs, yeah, I guess.
Because let me just double check that they don't have the demon keyword anymore. Oh my god, so many war scrolls. So Skyfires and do not have the demon keyword, and nor do the Enlightened. So they can't be ribbon back, and they don't count and all that. So yeah.
Got the Gaunt Summoner next. Used to be well good. Move 16, which is incredible. Wound 6, 4-up save. So not a bad profile already. 2 spells, 2 unbinds. Add 1 to casting, dispelling and unbinding. In addition, he knows all the spells from the Law of Fate. It's coming up a lot. Lords of the Silver Towers. Once per battle, end of a phase, you can pick one enemy hero that's within 9. And that made an attack that targeted this unit in that phase, at the end of a phase, so it could have shot you or something. Or caused any wounds or mortal wounds with the ability to spell that phase, even if they were negated. If you do so, roll 2d6. If the roll is greater than the wounds characteristic of that hero, it is removed from play. Kind of fun, pretty swingy.
I like that. It's like, go to the Silver Tower and go and do a little quest game, side game. We don't want you here anymore.
Occupop.
It's quite good because in Silver Tower, all the heroes were like little wound heroes, so it's quite funny.
Okay.
That's how they get there. We've now had it explained. The Gaunt Summoners just like, they go, no, piss off.
Off to play little games, off to your little board. Silvered Portal. After you've deployed this unit, when you would set up another friendly Tzeentch unit that is not a monster, you can say that it is in the Gaunt Summoner's Silver Tower as a reserve unit. Up to 2 units can be set up in reserve in this way. The end of any of your movement phases has to be the first 3, otherwise the unit disappears, I believe.
Yes, in the core
rules. You can set up 1 or more of these units on the battlefield wholly within 9 of this unit, and more than 9 from all enemy units. Don't get killed. Otherwise, you won't kill.
Bit risky.
That'd be sad. Yeah, he's not massively defensible either. You'll know what the armies are capable that you're playing against, so if they can't do that, it's probably going to really help you bully certain armies.
If you want to turn 1 Alpha Strike, he's so fast, then because at the end of any movement phases, he can move 16 with a run if he really wanted to, and then deploy. So you could use him to drop 2 big units of Flamers within range and just absolutely hose something down.
Yeah, or tarp it.
Or unit of Horrors and just put it across the front of their army.
Yeah, here's my stodge. I've debuffed you. Good luck.
Yeah, you could literally take turn 1, fly forwards, and drop 2 units of 20 Horrors across the front of their army.
Yeah,
knowing that you're going first. So I think there'll be some lists built around this guy.
I mean, he's a decent profile. How many points is he?
275.
Wow,
it's expensive.
That is a lot.
Yeah, but
I mean, he knows all of the lore.
2 cast wizards, he's got spells, an auto kill. There's +1 to cast and unbind. So
imagine if you turned up with this boy against someone with a 1-drop with some shooting damage, you'd be well sad.
Especially if you deploy stuff in the Silver Tower. But you don't need, you know that when you deploy, right?
Forced,
so you don't need.
I mean, if you turned up against Beastman or something, you'd be having a lovely time.
Don't know.
Got a spell. There's plenty of wounds in a Beastman army, isn't there?
Yeah.
Infernal Flames, casting value of 7, range of 12. Pick 1 enemy unit wholly within range, not wholly within range, invisible. Roll 1 dice for each model, each 5+ a mortal wound. If that unit is a monster or a war machine, roll 5 dice for each model instead of 1. So got a damagey spell. Quite short range. Then we're through to just the normal Gaunt Summoner who isn't on a disc. 2 spells, 2 unbinds. Add casting rolls. Once per battle, end of the hero phase, pick an enemy hero in the same way.
It's basically exactly the same. He just doesn't have a disc, right?
Doesn't have a disc, has Infernal Flames, all the same. How many less points is this man? He has 1 less wound and 2 less save.
And 11 less movement.
Yeah.
He's actually really expensive. He's 235.
Okay. Get the other one if
you're not taking him, right?
Nope.
No.
Discs is good.
Right. It's a cool model, but yeah.
It's a great model. I mean, there's a lot. The Curseling's coming up. It's an incredible model. Magister on Disc of Tzeentch, another move 16 dude. One spell. If the first casting attempt made by this unit in the hero phase is a successful spell and is not unbound, he can attempt to cast one extra spell in that phase. If he does so, and the casting roll for the spell is a double, the casting attempt is automatically failed and the unit is slain. If this happens, you can choose, you get a spawn.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful. It's kind of fun though.
Yeah.
Bolt of Change, it's that spell. Casting value 7, range 18.
Oh, this is the one that turns people into spawns. So they've moved it from Kairos to him, probably to make him actually considered as an option, because don't really take him otherwise.
And yeah, you can get a spawn. Range 18, D3 mortal wounds, not too bad. Then you got the Curseling, which is probably the best model in this book, I reckon.
Yeah, the Magister, how many points is he?
Can't be too many, he's not massive.
120? It's quite cheap.
Yeah.
For a 16-inch move wizard with 6 wounds and a 4-up save, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's decent. And he's got a range shot.
All these guys who are on discs, their melee profile isn't crap. Like, they can do an alright amount, especially by Tzeentch standards. Curseling, 2 spells, 2 unbinds. You can reroll unbinding and dispelling rolls for this unit, already sounding good. If this unit successfully unbinds a spell, you can immediately attempt to cast a Gleam Magic spell. And the Gleam Magic spell is cast on 4, cheapest one so far in the book, maybe. Range of 30, one enemy wizard within range visible to the caster. Pick one spell from that wizard's war scroll that is possible for the unit's caster to roll a dice. On a 2+, this caster knows that spell for the rest of the battle. Very cool. How many points is best model Evs?
He is...
God, there's so many characters in this book. It's unbelievable.
180.
180. 3+ save. That's pretty good.
Good in combat as well.
Yeah, he's really
like
not bad in combat.
Decent combat guy.
Just put him in because the model's so good, guys, and he's not poop.
The Magister's 120, so he's the same points as the other guy on disc, so hopefully he's good.
All right, then. What is his reason? He's got Magic Touched and Bolt of Change that's the same. He's got... What?
Oh, he's the same. Oh, I might have got the wrong profile, because I might have used his points.
Maybe
got Magister.
I'd say 30 or 40 more points for the other one, right?
Yeah.
For that move.
Oh, he's 145, so he's 25 points more, the guy on disc. Okay. So he's the same, but he's on foot. So at least they kept it simple, not trying to make everyone totally different.
Yeah,
so.
Agreed. We're already at character overload at this point. Vortimis the All-Seeing is next. He's got a spell, unsurprisingly. My God. In the first, he's got the Magic Touched rule again with some spawn. He has Sorcerer's Insight, new spell, casting value of 5. You receive 1 command point that can only be spent to allow the caster to issue a command. Not bad though, getting a CP. How many points is Vortimis?
Well, he comes with the Eyes of the 9 because it's the Underworlds thing. So 165 for him and the 4 guys.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Cool.
And the profile of Doom.
There's loads of different attacks in that unit.
They've got rules. Move on.
That can split. Fate Master. This model looks slightly out of place because it's about 20 years older than everything else I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Each time this unit is affected by a spell or the ability of endless spell, you can roll a dice on a 4+, you ignore it. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly Disciples of Tzeentch units wholly within 9. That's an alright ability.
That's amazing.
And he's on a disc.
Because that's shooting as well, right?
Yep, so he's not a caster, guys, even if he looks
3-up save, 6 wounds, movement 16. That buff, that and +1 to wound on all that shooting, that's amazing. You're just going to take this guy. You're going to see
Add
him.
1 to wound rolls.
Get your 1980s metal old hammer man out the box.
I've got kind of a soft spot for flames that are that shit.
145 points.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he doesn't have a spell, but that's a bargain. And I think the way to protect your peeps that you care about in this army is to have so many good things that your opponent just gets analysis paralysis and has to pick the wrong one. Ogroid Thermitage, yeah. This is like a 30-year gap between those two models, isn't it? Kind of shows such a good
probably is actually around that as well. Probably
this unit
more at 20, but yeah.
Can attempt to cast one spell, Berserk Range. Add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by this unit if any wounds or mortal wounds are allocated to that unit earlier in the phase. Choking Tendrils, casting value is 7, range of 18, 1 enemy unit. Suffers d6 mortal wounds. For each model that is saved by a mortal wound caused by the spell, you can heal 1 allocated to the caster. And he's got a solid-ish melee profile. He used to be an alright amount of points, this guy.
It's 175.
Okay,
pretty good for an 8 wound, 4-up save wizard with decent combat profile and some healing. I mean, he's
not a bad place to put some items. Because he's just a bit more survivable.
It's nice because he's Arcanite as well. So like,
exactly.
He's good for like the Arcanite lore or the Arcanite items. Fate Master's probably better because of the AoE buff to the army and the better save and the better move. But he's not a wizard, so you know.
Exactly. Yeah. All right then, we're nearly done with the heroes, guys. Tzaangor Shaman, move 16. So as Russ covered, he's not got the demon keyword. Pretty decent melee profile because he's on a disc. Sorceress Elixir, once per battle, attempt to cast 1 extra spell, add 3 to the casting roll of that spell. Still really good. Boon of Mutation, casting value is 7, range of 18. If successfully cast, pick 1 enemy unit within range invisible to the caster. That unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. For each model that is slain by a mortal wound caused by this spell, you can add 1 Tzaangor model that is not a Tzaangor champion or Tzaangor mutant to a friendly Tzaangor host within 12 of the caster. Set out models are added with the normal restrictions. The model can take a unit above its maximum size.
Interesting.
Yep. So solid spell.
Yeah, he doesn't do the +1 to hit anymore, right? He used to have an AoE bubble where you got +1 to hit, which you used to.
Or it was it's like a wound buff or something.
I think it was +1 to hit, but I can't remember. But so he's kind of been nerfed a little bit. What is his name? Tzaangor Shaman.
Tzaangor Shaman, yeah.
I just keep with all these random rules. Points for him. Where are you?
It's got to be like 180.
If I can find him. I don't know why I can't find him. 135. They're pretty cheap.
I guess he got a fair bit worse, didn't he?
It's still good though. 135.
He's a caster. He's got a very reliable spell. That seems, still super fast. Cheap. 4+ save. Yeah. Tzaangor Skyfires next. So range 24 on the Arrow of Fate. 1 attack, 4s and 3s, rend 1 damage d3. Guided by the Future. Ignore negative modifiers to hit rolls or wound rolls for attacks made with missile weapons by this unit, and ignore positive modifiers to save rolls for attacks made with missile weapons by this unit.
That's really good.
I think that's a nice way of doing it. You just roll what's on someone's scroll and it's still good.
But being rend 1 and d3 damage and they can't buff their save.
It's great.
And if you roll a 6 to hit, it does d3 mortals.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
they've only got 1 shot each.
I mean, they've always only ever had 1 shot.
High quality, isn't it?
Seemed like amazing.
How many points are they? Because they always used to, I think they were amazing, and then the points got changed.
190. So, okay, so we had a short break in recording.
A day's hiatus.
Maybe a tournament's worth of time. And we just finished talking about Tzaangor Skyfires. So, it seemed pretty decent. And we're going to rock straight into the Enlightened, which are on disc or on foot. I always find it bizarre they've got an on-foot profile. But
yeah, a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah, they're still holding on to that. So their melee profile is 3 attacks, 4s, 3s, rend 1, damage 2. And the disc is still D3, 4s, 3s, rend 1, damage D3. So hitting on 4s is kind of a bit lame, and I think the Shaman used to give you +1 if you were nearby, but I don't think that's the case anymore. No. So yeah, the 4s to hit feels a bit of a nerf, if I'm honest.
Yeah, babbling Stream of Secrets is pretty tasty. In the combat phase, enemy units within 3 of enemy friendly units cannot receive commands.
That is very good, actually, because that's basically like a guaranteed raw.
Well, yeah, guaranteed raw. Not only that, these boys, they're 180 points, but 4+ save, 4 wounds each, move 16, importantly, and in Tzeentch. So if you want them to be switching someone off, they can absolutely be switching someone off. And it's a unit, so you could dink these on an edge.
Mm-hmm.
like really conveniently. Yeah, super quick. 16-inch move plus a guaranteed charge of whatever. You could just pick out a 4 and a 3 and be like, cool, I've teleported across the table, whatever that is, 23 inches.
Yeah, even taking like 3 on foot for 95 points, like just in amongst your army, that's not a bad idea. Like because they've got a 2-inch reach, right? So if you had a blob of Tzaangor, like normal foot Tzaangor, you could literally put 3 Enlightened in the middle of the blob.
Roman deployment.
Just so they can't charge you without being within 3, which just means they can't use commands.
Yeah,
so actually that's quite a good use for foot ones.
9 attacks, 4s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2. Could be worse.
Yeah, and like, if you've got a big blob of Enlightened on disc, then, like 6 of them, then like you could just go, well, actually I'll use all out attack, so it's 3. So then they get +1 to wound if you're going second in the battle round.
Yeah.
Which actually like isn't too bad, especially in like this current handbook. Like going second allows you to pick proving grounds. So it can be quite strong, especially if you've got a lot of battle line Galatian veterans. I don't know if the Tzaangor make good Galatian veterans, but their save's not there really. But
I think a 6 or a 3 is viable, and in completely different ways. Obviously, it's quite a lot of points in an elite army where you want every single hero in the world. But 6 is a bit more resilient. It's a decent amount of wounds, fairly intimidating amount of damage, very fast. Like, what else is there in the army that can... Is this the only thing that can deliver this type of thing in melee?
Basically, yeah. Like, I mean, unless you're going into your coalition and allies, I don't really see much else. Like, the Lord of Change, it's not really that pokey in combat. It's okay. I mean, what have you got? Like, you could go for the sword. It's 4s, 2s, rend 2, damage 3 with 3 attacks, and 4 attacks, 4s, 3s, rend 1, damage 2. So it's okay. I'd say it's like a mid monster. Like, it's not like...
You may as well read these as rend 1, because if they're attacking something that wants to be defending itself...
Well, not with the Tzaangor nearby. Combo charge,
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, exactly. Like, if it wants to be defending itself, it can't. And if it wants to be more offensive, it also can't.
And don't forget, you've got spells like drop weapons, the arcane suggestions, you can lower their save as well.
Yeah.
So you can actually really stack the rend.
Pretty tasty combo. Not a bad shield for stuff. If you want to be sending these in, they're resilient enough that you could pop stuff behind them to support the combat without being too worried about it, I feel.
Yeah, I think they're a decent unit. I can definitely see them having play. I really like Tzaangors. I think they're like... I just like aesthetically, I really like the Arcanite stuff. I don't really like the demons. And if it's not have to paint or use horrors, because honestly...
I just wish they didn't put little bits. It's like the Fire Slayer.
Yeah, well, the models are complex, right? But I think the Tzaangors are... The Enlightened are cool. I've always liked them. But I think that's actually... That babbling stream of secrets ability is very strong.
Yeah, it's not on the... it's not on the Tzaangor non-Enlightened, so that's unique to the Enlightened. It's a really strong ability. It's incredible.
I mean, obviously they've lost like the re-rolls they used to have, which made them like disgusting. But I think, I mean, +1 to wound is nothing to be sniffed at because you can buff the hit roll as well, can't you? So, and there's not a lot of stuff that really makes you negative to hit. I know there's a few things, but
I don't like. I don't think you're taking these to wipe stuff out, but they're going to have a lot of impact in whatever you put them in. They'll do a decent amount of damage. They're fairly resilient. By this book standard, they're very resilient, actually, I guess. Especially switching off people's ability to buff their own attacks.
Yeah. Then we've got Tzaangors on foot. 6-inch move. Have they still got run and charge? They used to. Run and charge, for the musician. Yeah. So... Standard bearer champion. Now, I always found these really complicated because they had loads of weapon options. So it sounds that a unit is referred to as a host. Each model is armed for a beak and one of the following: Savage Blade and Shield, pair of blades. All models in the unit must be armed with the same weapon. Okay, so it's all shields or all pairs. 2 in every 5 can have a great blade. So it's like the mutant's gone. Oh no, the mutant's there. 1 in every 5.
It's all 1-inch reach, so I basically don't care too much about the
difference
between the profiles.
Shield gives you a 6-up ward. 1 of its beaks if it charged, and then yeah, so a pair of Savage Blades, are they the same as a Savage Blade? One extra attack? Are they hit on freeze rather than force?
Yeah.
No rend or anything though. That's
and you can
bad.
still take one in every 10 models with the standard bearer that does a poke. So while this includes any icon bearers, only need one. Start your hero phase, pick one enemy unit within 18, not bad range, and roll 1 dice for each wizard that is within 9 of this unit. For each 4+ unit you pick suffers 1 mortal wound. That's a solid poke. That's a really good option to just have incidentally.
Oh yeah, so it's how many wizards are around the banner. That's really good because like
Tzeentch.
yeah, because you could have like 5 wizards and you could have like 3 in a Tzaangor. You could be doing like 15 dice on a 4-up is immortal.
Well, it's much better than like, let's say it was on a 4+, you do an amount of wounds equal to the wizard. You'd have a really swingy big or nothing roll, but getting to roll that many 4+s is you know.
And the good thing about it, it's not a shooting attack.
Nope.
So there's no lookouts, there's no like you can't target me with the closest with Deepkin, and
yeah, the only negative is that it's in the hero phase. You haven't had the opportunity to move, but 18 inches is still a pretty tasty range.
Most of the games you're setting up within 18, or just outside of 18. So if they move forward, you know, and if you've got an army with Tzeentch, which really the enemy wants to be moving at you, because if they don't, you're just nuking them to death with magic. Yeah,
I mean, pretty elite. They're 175 points for 10, which actually, because they got 2 wounds each, right? Points spent per wound. I think that's
the bravery is an issue, right?
It is, yeah.
Because anything that means you can't use inspiring or you know like horror ghast, things like that, is going to be a big problem. These haven't got the Beast of Chaos keyword. Is that a thing? Should they? They're in the Beast book, aren't they? Tzaangors.
They're probably under Tzaangors of Beasts of Chaos.
Yeah.
They've got
their own version.
Yeah, they've got different scrolling points.
I don't even know how it works anymore. Like it's so confusing.
One of my primary reasons to be like, I'll take 4 Lords of Change. Is because I don't have to think.
I actually I don't know. Like I think I would go shields for the ward. I don't think I would be going like paired blades.
No, I mean it's not an incredibly high quality of damage because you don't have the rend. So,
well, you can have quite. If you've got like 20 of them, that's still like 8 great blades, which should rend 1 damage 2, and then you
get to attack with your behind ranks even if they've got 1 inch reach.
Yeah, because they'll be veterans, right? So
yeah.
So then, like I think. Yeah, I mean, in this
they'd mow through chaff. Like if someone was just average quality stuff, you could muller them. But
if you think about it, you've put your Enlightened in. They can't use all out defense, and you've done drop weapons, or whatever it is, make -1 save. You're effectively, and then if you've got a purple sun up, then you're rend free. You know, basically.
And if anyone's going to get their purple sun off, it might be a
Lord of Change.
Yeah, Lord of Change on you, Kairos. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Kairos can take over spells as well, so maybe it's their purple sun that you've just nicked. Right? Is that how it works? Horrible. Just unbinds it, goes, that's mine now.
That'd be absolutely grim, wouldn't it?
We will talk about endless spells in a minute, because there's one which is just absolutely busted, I think. So
onto the Kairic Acolytes next. So this is your cheapest available battle line, 120 points for 10 of them. 10 wounds, you wouldn't expect them to be anything else for that amount of points. It's a wizard.
That's interesting.
6-inch move.
Gestalt sorcery is what? Like range of 9, pick an Arcanite unit, hold within range, improve the rend of its bolts by 1. So it's just a buff to give it +1 rend, basically. So basically you just cast, but obviously it's a wizard, so that keys off the banner of the Tzaangor.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's also giving you fake points when it casts, right?
Add 1 to casting and unbinding rolls for this unit while it has any scroll of dark arts. I mean,
1 in every 10 can have it, so you will have it. Yeah.
I mean, why on earth wouldn't you? Oh wait, then maybe you have to pick between a Volkark. Blah 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 blah. If an enemy wizard casts a spell within 18 of a friendly unit that includes any Volkark, roll a dice. On a 4+, that wizard suffers 1 mortal wound after the spell has been resolved. Arcanite shields.
Scroll, right?
6 reward. Yeah, you're taking that scroll. Why wouldn't you? And then they've got the spell to improve their shooting attacks, which are range 18, 4s and 3s. Good all-out attack recipient there. Bit more of a poke.
Interesting that 3 in every 10 can replace their weapon with a cursed glaive and shield, so they keep the shield. And the cursed glaive is 4 4s, 3s, Ren 1, damage 2, 1 attack. So it's
much better profile.
Not bad. They got a 5-up save as well, which I think they used to have a 6-up.
Yeah.
6-up ward if they've got a shield, right? Yeah. So I actually quite like them.
For their points, that's absolutely fine. 120 points for 10 wounds. You're only a little bit.
And they're shooting.
Yeah.
You know.
And they're shooting and their magic and their combat, which isn't, they've got an all right
I mean, if you said 120 points for a wizard that's got 10 wounds, has an 18, has 10 18-inch range shots,
+1 to cast, +1 to dispel,
and +1 cast dispel.
Bargain.
You'd buy it every day of the week, wouldn't you?
I mean, it's nice that I can look at those and consider not running horrors.
It actually makes me want to do a Mortal Tzeentch army with Tzaangor.
They're good-looking models. Each of them does look like a character, but aside from that, they're I can see the picture of that scroll bearer. He's pretty badass.
Yeah, they are really nice. I love those models. I like the old Silver Tower when you got first come out, and you were like, "These are great."
Ooh, wait there. Has 9 or more models. How many?
Do you have 9 in a unit? No, surely not.
No,
10.
Why does it?
Yeah.
But why does it say this unit has 9?
Number is inch, isn't it?
Okay.
You could lose 1, and it doesn't affect you. I mean, it's quite nice because
that's actually quite helpful because a lot of people will just be like,
wound.
No longer this. Yeah.
It kind of. I think it encourages you to take 20 as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the only issue is in this edition is they're veterans. But what you could do is you can make them expert conquerors. So 10 acolytes counting as 30 models and objectives.
Yeah.
And they just stand at the back and they generate fate points. They do damage at range. They're behind your melee screen.
+1 to dispel. Fine.
Yeah. I mean, you could if you really wanted to. If you wanted a resilient battle line unit, it's just take it wouldn't be battle line, but just a resilient shield wall that isn't veterans, so bounty hunters can't muller them. It's just take a big blob of Chaos Warriors.
Yeah.
Because they're just gonna tank the world, right?
I mean, and they're really good with their shields. Undervalued warriors and knights, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially knights. Just
absolutely
great.
Bell?
Yeah, now obviously this spell, the Burning Sigil of Tzeentch, I think is busted. So it's cast on a 5 and has a range of 18, and you set it up wholly within range, more than 1 from everything, right?
What does it do to its 50 points?
At the end of the movement phase, you roll a dice for each unit within 9 of the end of the spell. On a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds. If any models were slain, then the commanding player of the model that summoned the end of spell can add a Tzeentch spawn and set up within 3 of the model's unit.
You're just going to bloom.
Well, the worst thing is you can set this up. I mean, obviously they could dispel it. It's only on a 5. But you set this up and you basically go, well, if you're within 9 of it on a 4+, you can't charge me if I do a mortal wound to you. Because I'm going to put a spawn within 3 in your charge phase. You can't charge her in combat.
Oh, that's grim.
Especially when you've got a shooting army. And the army as well, like the Tzeentch army, you can set an endless spell up at the beginning of the game, like before you even start.
Oh.
And it's an 18-inch range with a 9-inch, so it's 27 inches. So if you go first, so if you're going first, you just go, well, I'll put the spell out, deploy on, you're a 1-drop or whatever, you deploy on the right on the line, put the spell out, ping a load of their units, try and get spawns in their army.
Within 9 of presumably the center front of someone's army, unless they've
deployed most things.
Well, and unless they've deployed this far back to avoid it, in which case you're already getting 50 points worth of value and then some. That's going to hit like 6 units frequently. I'd say 7. And if the units are on the front line and you tag them with a spawn, you may have. And
it doesn't say like a spawn with a wounds of how many wounds you cause. It's just a spawn.
Spawn.
So then what are they? They're in here, aren't they? So what have they got?
Are they like a 50-point model or something?
Yeah, this is probably what they got 5 wounds with a 5-up save.
But then 85-point model in this book. I mean, that's so straight away you get 1 spawn back. You're already plus points
and they've got
the cost of the spell.
The rule that if a wizard within 9 casts a spell, then you heal all the wounds.
I mean, the other thing is...
And they do mortal wounds on a 6 to hit. So
you could end up with 1 unit. Let's say that's your priority, and your opponent's got... wait, I need to read this. Basically, I think even if you didn't roll the 4+ on 1 unit, if you rolled a 4+ on the unit next to it, you could still tag that unit in.
As long as it's within 3 of the slain models unit. It doesn't say it has to be within, it can't be within 3. I had the same issue when I played against Freddy at the weekend with his grave spawn. Like, I killed a hero in the sun, and you could set up a spawn within 6, and he put it within 3 of another one of my units, and I was like, what? Like, and he was like, yeah, he doesn't say. And I was just like, that's just stupid. So basically, he pinned my Mortec with it, and I was just like, really?
I mean, let's say you can hit 6 units with this, feasible, given it can finish super close to your opponent's army, and then 9 inches is tons. You've got 6 opportunities to roll a 4+ to pin the 1 unit, because you could hit a unit behind it and tag it behind. You're still going to be really annoying to someone, aren't you? Yeah, that is efficient as hell and pretty OP, I would argue. Don't worry, casting value of 5.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you cast it in your go and they're going to dispel it in their go, that still hurts their magic phase, and you've still got to turn out of it. And if they fail it, they're just laughing, aren't you? I mean,
oh yeah, giggling, popping spawns out. Okay, so that's probably going to be the winner. Tome of Eyes is 40 points.
A bit complicated, this one.
Okay, you can read this one, Russ. I'll struggle.
I've already read it, so rather than just read all the words, because there's tons, I'm just going to explain it in English. Okay. So you cast it on a 5, and then you set it up basically next to the wizard that cast it. As long as you're not in a garrison, you can't do it if you're in a garrison. I don't know why, but that's just what it says. Then it's linked to that caster, so whenever you move the caster, you basically unsummon it and reset it up next to the caster. So it's basically a book that follows him around.
Yep.
And what it does is you get to reroll casting rolls for the model that has it linked to them. So you get to reroll to cast, which is great.
Okay, it's a good start for 40 points.
Obviously, it's not as good as Cogs, but and then you've got the Parchment Curse, which gives you a spell that's on an 8, range of 18. You pick an enemy unit within range, and on a 3-up, they take D3 mortal wounds. And for every wound that's slain, they get -1 bravery for the rest of the battle.
Ooh,
which is
there's some horrible combos in there with some
Horrorghast and things like that. Yeah, there is. I don't know.
Too cute.
It's so cute. I don't think you'll see it. Like I just don't, because you've got to have this up. You've got to cast the spell. You've got to get Horrorghast out.
Rerolling casts is not a bad place for it to begin and end if you got the other as a bonus, right?
It's quite easy to unbind. But what you might do is, because you can have one set up at the beginning. I need to reread this rule.
Oh, you could make it so someone...
make it this, so you just start off re-rolling casts on like Kairos or something.
Yeah, also you could dump this. You've got more of a chance to be able to dump this out of range, right, of your opponent to dispel. Range of 18, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Within 1 inch of that model.
Yeah, so the wizard still casts the spell. It's just that
so you have your wizard within range of its target.
Yeah. The book just gives you the ability to cast and to reroll, and you just it follows him around. It's like a marker almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've got arcane armies in the first battle round after players have received their starting command points. Pick 1 Disciple of Tzeentch wizard on the battlefield that wizards can automatically cast a spell they know that summons a burning sigil, Tome of Eyes, or Draconic Siculacrum. So it's only these 3 you can do it. Don't make a casting roll. So you could start the game with this up. And then you could get a reroll cast on the sigil, but I would just think you put the sigil up. But
I think you would, yeah.
It depends how important like the rerolls is. If it was with more than one wizard rerolling, then I think it'd be good. But I mean, obviously rerolls is very strong.
In proportion to how many casts you got.
I don't think the spell's good, but I mean, how many points you said it was? Like 40.
40.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's a value that you'd frequently have left over in lists, right?
Yeah, I don't think you'll see it much. Then you've got the Simulacrum,
60 points, most expensive one.
Yeah, it's on a 7, so it's a bit harder to get rid of. Range of 12. Set it up more than 1 inch from stuff. It can move 9, so obviously that's a 21-inch threat. After it's moved, roll 9 dice for the closest unit within 6. So obviously that's 27-inch threat range, technically. If more than one unit's equally close, then you choose. For every 5 up, they take a mortal wound. If it's a wizard, it's on a 4 up.
Oh, damn it.
So actually, against a 5 wound wizard, you could probably kill it on average. It's like a 50-50 to kill it.
Yeah.
Because you roll 9 dice, you should get 4.5. So it's like almost a 50-50 to kill a 5 wound wizard. So it's still good.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that's probably one of the, like, very often there's one good endless spell and the rest you don't care about. Like, that's a pretty good selection. That's kind of like the Daughter's prayers or invocations or whatever they are. Like,
I mean, I think these all used to be trash, to be honest.
Yeah, used to be papped, didn't they?
Nice paint job on these now, finally.
Yeah, drastically upgraded. For some reason, they seem to have Slaanesh terrain in the background of the photo, which is confusing.
I don't think that is. I think that's just changed rocks with like tentacles and eyes. It's more a Tzeentch thing.
It's Slaanesh coloured.
Well, it's purpley, but purpley blue. We'll go with that. Purple and orange looks nice. We like that.
It does. I mean, it's a really massively improved paint job. Makes me want to paint one just for the joy of it.
I really like the look of the burning sigil. I think that was cool.
I think they all look pretty good, actually.
I mean, who doesn't like painting fire? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I love it. Tzeentch has got a very solid aesthetic. Overall, I'd say. Yeah.
So I think if we summarise the book quickly for people, so it's on pre-order today. So hopefully, I mean, Head Knight's a Slaanesh ally. Put a Sigvold in there. Why not? You know,
he's great. Yeah, he's great there. He's getting Nurgle as well.
Yeah,
this weekend.
It's good in most armies. People just don't have Slaanesh models, so I don't think
you need target saturation to make him more valuable.
To be honest, in Tzeentch, you definitely have that. Because you have stuff like the Blue Horrors, and you have like the Lord of Change, and you have like, I always struggle with like horrors, you know, like
there's so many
not horrors, they're flamers. So whenever I play against Tzeentch, it's like, what do I shoot at? There's too much stuff. What do I fight? So I think there's a lot of potential in this book for NPE still.
I can't disagree with that. I quite like how open the options are. It feels like if you'd like to go in this direction, or this direction, all of them seem pretty valid. The points seem more fair than they were.
I think it's a bit more balanced than it was. Yeah, I think there was 0 Tzeentch armies at the weekend. This weekend, it might be 1 or 2. I have like 100 people, so I would
kind of competitively. You had to be willing to play with them, right?
To be willing to be a knob, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's a missed opportunity to like correct the issues people have with Tzeentch, but at the same time, I just don't think people should be doing that, because it's been like this for so long. If you change the army, people who've been playing it for like 2-3 years, it's almost like it's almost like you've lost the window to like almost redefine what Tzeentch is in Age of Sigmar, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fairly well established now, isn't it? And I mean, especially not removing like models within 3-inch can't flee. That seems like a really, like, leaving that in, that says a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have 10 in the unit, and it's got to be demons, so it's basically horrors only.
But I mean, it's not like they're not.
But that's
good.
What they're for, right? They're to tarp it. So, but they don't really do any damage to you. It's not like you're like you can't run away from something like an incarnate that's just spanking your face in. And it's not like a bubble, you can't retreat for everything. So actually, like a Tzeentch army, which is, I'd say, is if you can use the incarnate at the tournament you're going to, because I know a lot. I saw a tweet about TTS events from you remember the Iron Gutsman? We did a thing, we talked about his Nurgle video.
Yeah.
I think he runs TTS events, and he's basically said Stuart McGovern, or what his name is, forget, someone can put it below. He's basically put a tweet out saying something about banning the incarnate because every list has got it that's competitive. And I know we're not using it at FACEHAMMER, and I know that it doesn't get used at Carnage, so I don't know. But if it is legal, the Incarnate in a Tzeentch army is pretty disgusting.
That's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
I mean, you just bond it to your Lord of Change, and like you can't get to it, and it's just literally in their army, and you're just shooting and magicking them to death.
I think you probably get quite a lot of value out of reroll charges as well.
Well, you just bung it in, and then I think you can even eat your own endless spells with it if you do something silly like you suicide a wizard. So you could bond it to a wizard on a disc, run it up with that wizard into their army. You don't need to go near their army. Charge your wizard in so he dies, and then they're gonna it's gonna be wild in their army. And then it can start charging endless spells and eating it to retain levels.
And in the meanwhile, you're like, I've got a banner, so here's 3 mortal wounds. I've got, some Rage 18 shots. Here's my unit of Flamers
just deleting you.
Yeah, here's 6 Tzaangor on one flank, and actually, due to my buffs and debuffs, they're gonna own that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you might have even pinned their army with Spawn before you even done it. So
Wow.
I mean, like if you played against Beastmen, I think you just destroy them with this army.
Oh,
because you'd literally just like put spawns in amongst all their units, and just they don't really have lots of high quality attacks,
and you've got a high quality of low quality attacks. It's like one of the things the army does have down actually, doesn't it?
And you've got lots of dice, and even I think Nighthaunt might hate these guys.
I think so, yeah, because you're not like here's my 4 rend 3 damage 4 attacks. It's just like bleh.
Yeah, just go.
And some of them are mortals, which is grim.
And then obviously you're stopping them charging. So if you use the Sigil, they can't charge. You're like, well, they just can't use their Wave of Terror.
Yeah.
They're not doing the Scarlet Crusade mortals.
Or even imagine like just the.
It's quite interesting what this does to the meta.
Flamers. Yeah, if people are willing to take it, but at least the non-horror based builds feel more open now. I quite like the pointing of the battle line.
Try and math out a non-horror focused army.
I think you'll run out of. Do you think you'll write
Probably.
You'll write like a 2,300 point list in your head?
Easy. Yeah. I mean, they're not cheap, are they? I mean, if you take 6 Skyfires and a unit of 20 Tzaangor, you've already spent like 800 points plus. Well, not 800 plus, but almost.
Peeps can pop their list
over 1,000. Then you put a hero in, another hero in, and a couple other units. And you ratio at 2k. So,
well, like you pick 4 spells you want in the army, and you've probably just spent like 1,200 points on heroes at that.
Could only have 3 though.
Oh, I meant like the
War Scroll spells. Yeah,
because there's so many good ones. You're like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. Here's a combo, and then it might have cost you 900 points, even if they're just like foot wizards.
But you might find you end up going like Summoners Guild just to get a cheap Lord of Change. You'd have to buy one.
Yeah, why not?
So you just go, I have another one for free on 9.
9.
It means you don't have to paint horrors at all. If you don't take horrors and you take Summoners Guild, you just got to paint lots of chickens, which is
really
okay.
It's a really badass. Like, there's a lot of decent looking armies available. I would also encourage people, like, it's Tzeentch, you can paint it any color you like, and
your summon really Lord of Change could literally be fire. You could just do it in a fire, like a one color, like almost ethereal, but just flames, lit like the Endless spell. So you just paint it like the Endless spell, and maybe just have.
You want to know how?
Yeah,
that's a.
Oh, you've got a good AO video on that, haven't you?
Yeah. It went down quite well. It's dead easy. You dry brush. You could do an entire army at that.
And if you want to get some decent dry brushes and support us, you can click through to Element through our affiliate, and we get a kickback. And obviously, it's Byron's company, both of them, so it helps him anyway.
Thanks, guys, appreciate it. By the way, this does look good. It's got fluoro paint on it, so my webcam's unhappy with it, but it's a really solid looking model, and I think do an entire army like that. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm tempted. Dry brush contrast. I don't know why. Every time I do a book review, I want to collect the army. Well, if you wanted to do something super interesting, the way you sequence your painting with this, I would paint the entire thing flamey, or the large area where the flames are flamey, and then just go in and rebase coat the rest of it in your under contrasting. Yeah. Then just paint in like a normal model, and then you could do a little bit of dry brushing next to the flames if you wanted. That would look sick. It would look absolutely insane, that army. And that's literally like painting award winning fuel. Could look brilliant. Yeah. Might do one of those soon, although I've got the wrong type of large chicken next to it. I was going to say, Tzeentch is maybe the wrong list army to do it, but maybe that is the right army because no one sees it, right? Yeah.
No, I mean, it's interesting. I really like the fact the agendas are gone. I really like the fact you've got the put an endless spell out for nothing. Basically, I think that's really cool.
It fits with the fluff perfectly.
And it's only the book ones, which I think is important, because otherwise you just have a purple sun up on turn 1, wouldn't you?
So. Well, never mind the state of the game currently. I don't think if they'd written something else in, it would have been a really awful decision for future balance, because then you know we end up in the situation of pink horrors again. Let's not tarnish the world with our one war scroll or one sentence where they're like, oh no, we won't do rules for this spell because in one army they could put it out before the battle and it would be a bad idea. So I'm glad that they did restrict it. It's still very strong.
I'm still not sure. I'm not sure about horrors in this current handbook because of Galatian veterans. You're doubling up the damage, so I don't think they tarp it as well as they used to at the moment, because they have to be
wounds.
Galatian veterans.
What you pay, you're still getting for the other abilities of the scroll, the shots, the fact they're a wizard, blah blah blah. You're still getting a very efficient amount of wounds, even if you halved it, accounting for double damage against them for the amount of points you spend. I
actually, part of me thinks that if you just take blue horrors, they're 150 points, so that's 20 wounds, and they're not battle line. Is that better?
If you
2 units of blue?
If you've got enough battle line, you're not struggling for points. Objectively, yes. And if not that situation, no. Yeah.
I do like the idea. Like in this current
that's good
situation, I really like shooting units as expert conquerors.
Yeah.
But then I think with a lot of the jank with Tzeentch, you want to be dictating the turn. So you want to go low drop, so then that immediately pulls you out of no drop. But you're not going to run bounty hunters, are you? I mean, maybe the Tzaangor if you're on discs.
Yeah.
But then how many people have Galatian veterans? I mean, like, I found that when I played at the weekend, there wasn't a lot of it. And that's why I think, like, Sons of Behemoth and More Crusher Smash is just still really good, because it just ignores all that rubbish.
Yeah. And you just have a more enjoyable game as well.
At the end of the day, like, a More Crusher's output is still enough without getting +1 damage, so you don't care.
Yeah.
And nothing in your army is affected, and then nothing can be immune to raw now, so you're just like,
I've spoken to you about it a couple of times, and we
after watching my Mortek guard basically disintegrate unless they roll a 1 or a 2 all weekend. For me, it's like when I played Ben Curry in the last round, Marathi failed the raw on a key turn. If she got the raw off, she would delete the unit. Because she didn't delete the unit, it won me the game, and it literally come down to a 3-up roll.
I said exactly the same thing from when I played. I think it's when I played. Well, there's a couple of my games actually when I played Craig at Carnage, and we spoke after that. It's kind of baked into the rules now. But if someone said Raw's not in the game anymore, I think that would be a huge plus.
Yeah, I think there was 6 combats over the weekend in 3 games. Where I played Beastman, I got rawed once, the other one failed. I played Sons of Behemoth, I got rawed twice successfully. I played the Maw Crusher God Direct list, and I got rawed twice successfully. I played Marathi, I got rawed once successfully, once failed. And I played a Nurgle, it didn't matter. But basically, out of the 8 rolls, only 2 of them didn't work, and those are the 2 games I won with the Nurgle list.
It's too pivotal. It is far too big. And I'm quite happy for this game to encourage monsters to exist, but I think that's a dumb way to do it.
Yeah, well, at least before I could take Hunters of the Halfland and just protect me from that, but now I can't, so...
I think if that's in the game... Well, I don't know if it was written at the same time, but if that's in the game and you put something else to protect against it, you have to be aware that as one drops off and the other remains, you're going to end up in a state of, like, graphic imbalance. I really benefited from it at Carnage, and I didn't enjoy it.
For me, it's like Raw is just too powerful.
It's not tactical, is it?
No. And the amount of times I've rolled a 1 or a 2 and I've just grown. And you're just like, oh,
also, thematically, like, couldn't you just be like their -3 bravery?
Yeah, or just make it cost you 2 command points or something. Rather than 1.
Yeah.
So on a 3-up to use a command ability, it costs you 2 points, not 1. I don't know.
Yeah.
Problem is, you probably find there's loads of weird interactions with like the Iron Jaws, like cascading and all that. How does that work? So
that's why I say something simple. Like your -3 bravery. Cool. You can make it count. You can plan around it. It would be a bonus to what you plan to do anyway.
Doesn't do anything.
Not like I'm going to go in and if this goes off, I win the game.
Maybe it just makes you -1 to hit. Just makes you -1 to hit, so then you have to spend your CP on +1 to hit, or you can choose to be defensive. So it's like
that's good on yeah. Clean.
I think that's probably more. It's still impactful.
It's self-contained as well, so it's not going to screw up. Unforeseen consequences left, right, and centre because of a load of other complicated rules. So, should we change it for FACEHAMMER?
I was thinking that. Comment below. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, guys.
If you haven't seen the pack, I have released it. I haven't tweeted about it. I haven't done that. We're going to record a show on it, I think.
You pop a link below this to the pack, and then people.
I will do. I put it in the comments for this show. So if you want to check out the pack now, we have spoke about at the end of the last show. The caveat is obviously some people like comp, some people don't like comp. It is a significant step away from the current game, and I would encourage people to give it a go before poo-pooing it. And I know there's all these opinions about stats and like the game state and not allowing. At the end of the day, I always want to run an event I want to play in.
Got some strong opinions about enjoyability being one of the highest things to rate when playing a game that you do fun. I know that there's some comments about, if you're into the current handbook, it's almost like a thought exercise to switch. And I'm like, yeah, but if you've been able to get into the current handbook, it ain't going to be an effort for you. But if you're a newer player, it's going to be a lot easier. But anyway, it's our opinion. It's our event. I've got a pretty strong opinion on that. If you're pushing dudes around the table being practical and trying to solve problems, you're practicing decision-making and Warhammer. You can get better at Warhammer without touching a table, so it doesn't matter what rule set you're playing under. And it's very easy for nerds, especially male nerds, to fixate on one measurable thing, like paint ratios. Doesn't fucking matter, guys. I can say that until I turn blue in the face. If you're practicing making decisions in the right way and moving your models into the right place, you will get better at Warhammer if you're doing it in the right manner. So it doesn't matter what edition you're playing under, or compact or anything like that. And it's also interesting to try out different units, which we've tried to make it encourage balanced armies. I played twice under it this weekend, and we had a hoot. I think I might have had more fun at my house than you did at your event.
Yeah, I think so. I spent half my games just face palming at the aptly named against all the odds battle tactic, which is basically a guaranteed auto win tactic on turn 1 or any turn, which just seems ironic. But anyway, it's not like I think each to their own. I found mentally it taxing to play this handbook, and I wasn't prepped. I haven't played practice games. I played one game under this handbook, and I found it a significantly steep curve. And obviously I'm an experienced tournament player of a high caliber from the back of the day, so I would say that for me to struggle, I can't imagine what it's like for a new player or a mid-table player.
Historically, you're someone who doesn't need to play under something to understand it either. There's a lot of people out there that need to get some reps under their belt.
I almost think the game's almost forcing you to be so practiced and actually researched on everything that you need to be really hot with your list to be able to actually finish your games and enjoy the game and actually make tactical decisions, because you don't have any spare bandwidth for any decisions. You're just literally just trying to remember what everything does, and
I think that
make sure you've got your markers and make sure you've done all that, and like your tactical gamesmanship almost doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter. I don't think
people have room for it yet. There's going to be you got top players out there who like routinely know all of their rules, all of their opponent's rules, every nuance, have got every token, still get best sport. Toby still get best sports, turn up and stomp it. That's like a very tiny percentage of what people are, and the curve for progression, learning the game, I feel it doesn't go like this now. It goes like, but that gap takes forever.
It used to be like that, and now it's like this.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Like, it's a massive cliff. I would say I'm not taking anything away from people who've done well or enjoy the handbook. It's just our opinion. You can disagree with us. That's completely fine. We're not saying we're right, you're wrong, or we're better, or anything like that. It's just it might come across as a bit, But I just wanted to write my own battle pack and just see how it went. And I've had some good feedback so far, and I think it might be something we continue to do for FACEHAMMER events to make them unique. And it might drop things out of things like rankings and all that stuff, but honestly I'm in a place in my life where I'm not interested in that anymore, and like I want to run an event I want to play in, so that doesn't factor into my decision making, which, you know, I don't want to be led round the nose too much. I think if the handbook was really cool and I really liked it, I just would run it because I want to play that. It's fine.
Well, if it didn't layer, you know, it's just additions.
Yeah,
definitely give it a go, guys. I think you'd probably be surprised, and I imagine you'll think that it makes it more complex. You'll think that for about 2 minutes while you pick your strategy for the turn and your opponent does. And then once that's done, you'll wonder why you're having a nicer time. And it's because you know what's going on, your opponent knows what's going on, and you're just trying to play Warhammer at the table without quite so much, you know, things that break up play and need for going and referencing other stuff or whatever. So I found the flow of the game was nicer too. And those pauses add up, so you might find yourself not going to time as much as well.
I enjoyed that at the weekend with OBR when I was playing people and they've been really cagey with their movement. I said, guys, and that's why I think movement phases take so long. It's just because of redeploy. And I said, look, I don't have redeploy. I cannot redeploy.
Yeah.
So you don't need to worry about it. So you can just do
just
what you
having
want.
the option.
Like,
there's so many times people are like, no, I'm going to think, and then they don't do anything. If it's not there, you can't do it. You don't worry about it. You're probably having more fun or concentrating on stuff that does matter. Target priority, combat priority, that type of stuff.
But Tzeentch, we'll go back to it, is out for pre-order today. Click through the link to support us. We've got our merch restocks. I think we've got some new dice going to go up soon. We've got templates. There'll be tickets for FACEHAMMER. I think we've had some drops, so we've got some tickets left. So if you want to come down and try the pack, give it a go. If you like it, come to the event. We'd like to see you there. The trophies are looking badass.
Yeah, they're going to look pretty good.
So really happy with that. So thanks to Strata Miniatures for printing those and for the excellent sculpting of Russ Charles. So we really appreciate that. And yeah, we will cover that. I will do a coverage of Blackout, Chris Tomlin's event in Cardiff. Chris is excellent TO, and even if he was fashionably late for round one because he was out drinking the night before in the hotel, which doesn't count as going out drinking, but still counts, which was very amusing. But he's a very gracious TO. He's very switched on. He takes it very seriously. Great guy, you know, so really enjoyed the event. There was a great crowd there. Gaming aside, it was okay. The games, like towards the end, I think I'm maybe a little bit less down on the pack than I was going in, like in terms of the handbook, but at the same time, it's still, for me, it's a mental, it's a bit of a block to do any list or any army under it. But yeah, I enjoyed playing my OBR. I wasn't being competitive or trying to be competitive. I finished 21st out of 100, which is okay.
Solid. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do a show on that to go through my games with some pictures if people are interested. Talk about Mousy Up Bone Reapers. We'll do a show on the pack. Run people through it. So if you don't quite want to read it or you're not quite sure, then we'll talk through it, and then we'll also talk about our decision making process. Obviously, we hope there'll be a Luminef book to review soon, and also an Ogre book because that's been talked about on the website. And so we'll do book reviews as usual out on the pre-order day if we get them in time, which we usually do. So thanks GW again for sending us.
Yeah, this really helped with this.
It's really helped, especially with what's going on in my life at the moment. It's been a bit disrupted, but yeah, it's fine. So I think that's about all the end of video spiel, unless you want to plug in anything, Byron.
Guys, if you're coming to FACEHAMMER and you're not in the WhatsApp group, like just message out and we'll get you added in. People have been putting in their experiences playing under the comp and stuff like that, and we're still of a mind where if there's a little tweak or a clarification to make things more clear, we'll absolutely do it. So all the feedback that we've received so far is great, and it's also been really nice seeing people, you know, recounting their games and the experience they've had with that. It's been pretty awesome, actually. So yeah, let us know and we'll pop you in.
Yeah, all right, cool. All right, well, we'll see you on the next one. Talk to you all soon, and hope you have a great Saturday.
Yeah, catch you in a bit, guys. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.